And we made it. Good Saturday morning,
Good morning.
everyone. And at dismay of many people, I know we do a mic check when we start. So if our lovely friends in the chat could just let us know if they hear us okay and they see us okay and the video and the audio is good, and then we will rock and roll into it. And also, too, we were experiencing some technical difficulties, which is why we're about 6 minutes behind. We sat down at 10:58 or 9:58. And I actually came up like 45 minutes early this morning to set everything up, and I just had it ready to go. And we were getting everything ready downstairs, getting our coffee, taking care of the dogs, and the computers froze.
Yeah.
And so I had to reboot all the computers and the cameras and everything. And so we made it. All right. Everyone says we are good. So hope everyone is doing well. It has been 2 weeks since our last live stream. Hopefully, this is a good cadence. What we intend to do is do like a reader mailbag episode where we do the pre-recorded ones, and that seems to have gotten really good feedback so far. So we will continue to do that. And then every week that we don't do a reader mailbag, we will do a live stream with you guys and hang out and go through some questions and then talk about any relevant topics in the world today. We were discussing a few minutes ago, Taylor didn't have anything that was pressing, but
more so
go ahead.
What I've been taking that I'm
well,
liking
maybe
right
let's talk about that
because there's two things I've been taking that are new that I really like.
Right. So let's maybe talk about Mazdutide first, which is the GLP glucagon agonist minus it would be retatrutide minus the GIP or semaglutide plus the glucagon, however you want to split it. But I actually haven't taken this yet. I've taken like a month off of GLPs. And I feel really good. Like I feel fine taking, it's just this last time I've used GLPs was probably like the longest consecutively. It was, I want to say somewhere around 6 months. And I felt great doing that. And I've been off a month and I still feel really good. I wouldn't say like, I definitely didn't have like a rebound hunger effect, but I also managed that landing really well. So like where I titrated down to like a very low dose and then came completely off. And now I've been off for a month. I feel really good. I always say for me, like the GLPs, obviously like the fat loss and inflammation benefits are huge. I miss some of the cognitive benefits, although I would say like I don't feel like cognitive falling off whatsoever. But I know like once I go back on them, I'm like, man, there is a cognitive benefit there. But enough about me. Why don't you just tell people for the first couple weeks that you've been on Mazdutide how it differs from Retta? Is it better than Retta? Is it? I actually didn't mean to say that, but is it better than Retta? Is it worse? How do you feel so far?
So I will say I feel like I say this about every new peptide that I try, but I do think it's better than Retta. In the sense of what I've noticed, I still love retatrutide, but I think this is going to be a great peptide option, especially if for women that already have like more sensitive nervous systems, because Retta can like do increase heart rate and everything. So I like Mazdutide because I'm not getting that nervous, like stimulating, like nervous system stimulation at all whatsoever. With it.
Do you feel like your heart rate has gone up at all?
No, my heart rate has been nice and steady. I've actually been like probably the like most like nervous system wise, like the calmest over probably in the last like 2 weeks, maybe 3. I think it's like ever since we got back from A4M. So was that like 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
More or less.
Yeah. So I feel like since then, my nervous system has been like so much calmer. So I feel like no heart rate issues at all with it. What I like about it is that it feels like 4 weeks into retatrutide in the sense of like, I feel like I'm already adapted to it a lot quicker in the sense of like, I feel like with Retta, like sometimes you get the appetite increase because metabolism speeding up and like you have to kind of build up to that appetite decrease feeling. And I feel like I already feel that after just taking it one time. And I think the other thing I think is beneficial is that like I don't feel nauseous when it comes to food. Like with like tirzepatide, I definitely can get like food just like nothing sounds good to me. When I'm on tirzepatide, nothing sounds good to me other than rice cakes and oatmeal
Mm,
when I'm on tirzepatide. And with Retta, I can feel like that too. When I feel that way with Retta, it's usually further along, like deeper into the cycle
yeah.
when I'm on Retta. But even and with Retta, like I can kind of feel that way even about like the idea of like heavy fats and like fattier meats. But like with this, I don't have that at all. Like it just feels like smooth,
Yeah.
I guess you can say. Um, I will say like GI wise, like it definitely like I think it's hard for me to say right now if it's like with the GI system, like I don't feel nauseous, but like I do have a little bit more of an active bowel movements going on, but I don't know if that's really the Mazdutide or if it's from the yogurt that we're doing.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think that'll
that's
come with
also
the territory with any
yeah.
GLP, especially because you were off for a little bit
Mhm.
and restarting it. But again, too, if you're doing a probiotic yogurt, that is obviously going to have an effect
Yeah.
at some level. But I think it's interesting. Obviously, I haven't tried it yet, but just looking at the data, out of all the GLPs that we have, Mazdutide has the lowest dropout rate in clinical trials,
Mhm.
which is pretty crazy. I would say the fat loss, from what I remember off the top of my head, is definitely not as good as Retta. But here's the question: does Mazdutide end up becoming the healthy person's better alternative? Because
Mhm.
Retta can be so aggressive, which can be
Mhm.
obviously good, and I would say it's still king.
Mhm.
However, once you get to your goal weight, is Mazdutide better than Retta for someone that is within a relatively safe range of their body fat
Yeah.
where they want to be? Does Mazdutide end up becoming better? That's what I'm interested to kind of assess for myself is like, do I like this better than Retta? Because here's what's interesting is at least from published literature that we have, there's another GLP called Servodutide, and Servodutide, according to the data that I could find, has a GLP and glucagon agonism just like
Mhm.
Mazdutide, but the GLP is 8 times stronger than the glucagon. So it's basically like semaglutide with a tiny little bit of glucagon agonism added
Mhm.
in. Whereas Mazdutide, according to the data that I have read in published trials from the scientists that built it and are testing it, is about an equal proportion of GLP to glucagon. And if we extrapolate that, I know that's not exactly how it works, but if we extrapolate that to, okay, 2 milligrams of Mazdutide per week, which is what you're doing total, you're splitting that
Yes.
up into 2 doses.
Mhm.
That means you're getting like 1 milligram of GLP and 1 milligram of glucagon.
Mhm.
Well, we know Retta is about like 15 to 20-ish% glucagon
Mhm.
agonism. And so let's say you're doing 5 milligrams of Retta to get that 1 milligram of glucagon. Now you're doing a lower dose to get the same amount of glucagon activation.
Mm.
You're getting about the same amount of GLP, but you're taking out that GIP, which is like 60% of Retta, meaning that like the GIP component of Retta
Yeah.
is about 60%. It's not equal three parts. It's
Mhm.
about 60% GIP, similar to tirzepatide, which is like 60 to 80% GIP. So you're removing that GIP component. You're basically like taking that out and getting all the benefits of a higher dose of Retta without the nausea creating effect
Mhm.
that the GIP has. Now, I say that the GIP actually like offsets some of the GLP nausea,
Mhm.
but what is interesting is you have not experienced the nausea even that tirzepatide causes at a similar dose.
Yeah.
Is that would that sound appropriate? Meaning that you feel like you're taking a higher dose of Retta
Yes.
for the results, but at a lower total dose of the peptide.
Yes.
Okay.
That does make sense. And I feel like I'm getting results like a lot quicker. Obviously, everybody knows here I'm not like I not I can't lean out and drop too much body fat percentage right now because of fertility, but I have noticed like I have leaned out a lot quicker the last 3 weeks with this.
Mhm.
And you know what else is interesting because I talk about this a lot with women, and I actually was just having a conversation with somebody this week is that sometimes emotionally and mentally I can feel flat on Retta, especially if I've been on Retta for a longer period of time, that can happen. Now, again, this is only 3 weeks into Mazdutide, but I don't feel emotionally flat. And I think not having that the GIP, I think is a big factor right there. Because if you think about it, tirzepatide does do a lot with benefits for addiction. They use it a lot with addiction. That component's now gone with that GIP. I think that that's doing something also, like it's not triggering dopamine issues. It's not going to have effect on my nervous system and just like the mental health pathways.
Yeah, it could be interesting. I know that's, it's really interesting. There's even the benefits of semaglutide in clinical literature around the addiction component.
Yeah.
I think tirzepatide probably is even stronger. But then it's like, how much of that is coming from the GLP of the tirzepatide versus the GIP?
Yeah.
We don't really know.
know.
It's hard to really say, and we're just kind of scratching the surface of seeing the mental benefits of that. But it is
this is the first time we talked about the mental benefits. So it's also like
of Mazdutide.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's very much like this is not a polished conversation.
Well,
this is us just
it's all experimental too.
Yeah.
I would say, I think there's less. I would say this: there's less nausea, less issues with Mazdutide. It seems so far, and I know new peptide, fresh receptors, even though it's like not fresh receptors, but it's still kind of fresh receptors because it's a new peptide. New peptide, fresh receptors, better results, faster, less side effects. And you see that in literature, albeit the fat loss is not as much as retatrutide, there is more compliance with it.
Yeah.
And then if you look at it, fat loss is like very on par with tirzepatide.
Yeah.
And so maybe this is like tirzepatide, but it works better and faster with less side effects. And so we'll see. I think it's one of those things, like we'll have to hear from more people that are using it.
Yeah.
And obviously it's available in the gray market. Just no one knows about it. No one talks about it. Hopefully more people will start to talk about it and use it.
I think it will become more talked about and more used as with everything changing with peptides and everything, like in Retta possibly getting harder to find maybe at some point on the gray market. I think
Lilly owns Mazdutide too. However, it is approved in China. That's what's being used in China right now. Instead of tirzepatide, they use Mazdutide in China. So maybe they know something we don't. They're way ahead when it comes
They're
to
way
peptides.
ahead of us.
But so I think it will get approved. It might not be until like 2028 though that Mazdutide gets approved here in the US. But it will.
Yeah.
And then maybe by 2030, the general populace hopefully has a lot of options when it comes to peptides from a prescribing standpoint.
Yeah.
We'll have Mazdutide, maybe survodutide. I've heard really good things about people that talk about survodutide. I think more people have used that than Mazdutide.
And survodutide has...
It's the same, but it's much stronger to the GLP, whereas Mazdutide is like half and half.
Okay, so it is still just GLP and glucagon.
Right.
Okay.
Now, I've also heard too from smart people that they're working on making a retatrutide that would basically be like equal proportions GLP, GIP, and glucagon. And I would wonder, is that better or worse? I don't know in terms of the side effects.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting though is I wrote an email this week. I get so many questions about retatrutide increasing hunger, and no one really talks about that because semaglutide, tirzepatide, you don't really see that. Retatrutide's obviously not approved yet, but I hear from so many people that retatrutide increases hunger. I will say for me, I never really experienced that. And I looked for it through the years of like, did Retta increase my hunger? I never really got that, but I know people do have it.
They did
happen.
with me.
Yeah. So like, it's interesting when you look into it is I think Retta is so powerful at what it does because it's inducing like a caloric deficit and everything. It's kicking ghrelin in. It's doing all these things that are creating a state in the body that your body's like just starving. And then that creates hunger. And then what's interesting is that by, I think like week 36 in the trials, there was no difference between retatrutide at high doses for appetite and placebo, which is really crazy when you think about it. And I think that's even more a testament to the power of retatrutide, that they're not actually noticing as much appetite suppression, but it's still creating as much fat loss.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. you think about it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, interesting times. I think that will be survodutide, mazdutide. Hopefully, start to get out there more, and we'll see.
It's kind of like I think it's kind of like when congruentide like first came out.
Yeah, congruentide likely will become FDA approved at some point in the next year or two. But it's just I like it, but like I don't need it all the time. Some people do really well on it, and some people just hate it. It's kind of a coin flip.
Yeah.
I've heard people having really bad reactions too now, like recently, and I don't know if this is a sourcing issue or it's more of just an actual response to the peptide, but like really bad allergic reactions to it. Yeah, I've heard a couple people tell me that. So obviously I've never had it.
Yeah.
Obviously, so just kind of depends. But anyway, well, anything else topically you want to talk about in the peptide world?
No, I've just been using the Mazdutide and then using I've been using Yohimbeam cream. And I've been putting that on my stomach before doing cardio in the morning, and that has pulled a lot of water off of my stomach, and I really like the cream. I've only used oral Yohimbeam once. Didn't like it. Injected it once and way too stimulating. Definitely like overly stimulating, overly jittery for me. But the cream is great because you sweat. It does give you a little bit of energy, but like it's not a jittery feeling at all.
I think when you look at the metabolization of creams, you can take something like Yohimbeam and harness the benefits of it, but because it doesn't peak in the same way that like an oral supplement would, it's a little bit easier to handle. Whereas like if you take Yohimbeam orally, it works to like pull water off, especially in lean people if you're trying to get rid of water. But it basically like, well, for me, and I know other people experience this too, it induces like this cold fever feeling, and it can make you hypo and you feel nasty. You feel kind of lightheaded. Like you start to feel that hypo feeling of like lightheaded, cold sweat. And so it works, but this doesn't have that, but it seemed to have the same practical effect.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Definitely did. For me, it did.
Yeah. It's funny that Yohimbeam cream actually goes back. People were using that, I'm pretty sure, in the 90s.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's one of those things that a lot of the bodybuilding people, and then, stuff advances and you kind of forget about it, but it's like, hey, it's a good thing. It's interesting to the injection is there's a blend that vendors that shall remain nameless sell. It's a blend of Yohimbeam and albuterol for an injection. And that stuff will get you lean, but it will make you tweak out.
Yeah, it definitely will.
You cannot not do cardio within 5 minutes of injecting that.
No.
Like you literally
if you have a hard
time,
like you have no motivation to do cardio, like
it makes your heart rate basically you have to go do something. Otherwise you feel like you're just going to like
go crazy.
I remember the first time I took that, I actually took it, and for cardio, I walked across the street to Falls Dam to do cardio walking, like a hike.
I remember you telling me this.
I remember it because it was a cloudy day. I'm pretty sure it was like a Saturday morning, and I took it, and I just drove across the street to the dam and was going to like go for a hike real quick. And in the first 5 minutes, I got out of my truck, I was fine, and I started walking, and within like 30 seconds of walking, I was like, what is going on? And I like had to start walking a lot faster because I was like, I like felt like my heart was going to beat out of my chest. Yeah. And like 10 or 15 minutes in, it like goes away. And then all of a sudden you're just like, you have the albuterol feeling of just like complete like lung clarity, you know, but it is not something to toy around with for sure.
No, but I think peptide, I don't know. We've been experimenting with peptide creams, like topical peptides the last 3 weeks, and some of them have been really good. And I think we're going to start seeing more of those. I swear I'm not like trying to dangle carrots. Like they're out there, but I do think they're going to be using the Cardilax cream. Like my knees were bothering me from squatting with our new gym equipment, and putting just like Cardilax cream on my knees like one time, it like took the pain away.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to like replace like injecting if like you have a tear or injury, but if you're just like you just like tweak something in the gym, I think some of the topical like BPC, Cardilax, TV500 creams are going to be really beneficial.
Yeah. Well, I think that's one of those things. It's just more for the mass market people that it'll work better for.
Yeah.
You know, like, because like so few people inject. Everyone watching this, most watching this will inject.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. enough of our lives. Let's get to the questions. Speaking of our dogs, who we were just playing with this morning, Cynthia says, oh, almost forgot to put the question on the screen. Can you please remind me how to dose testosterone for your dogs, please? My rule of thumb for a male dog would be, what is my formula that I have that I came up with? Is basically 10 milligrams for every 10 pounds of body weight every 10 days is what I do. So our dogs are about 80 pounds. I do 80 milligrams every 10 days. If you have a female dog, I would take that down to 1 milligram per 10 pounds per 10 days. So if you had a 20-pound female dog, that would be 2 milligrams every 10 days. Easy enough, right? Somebody might have to listen back to that to say it. But males, 10 milligram every 10 pounds every 10 days. Females, 1 milligram every 10 pounds every 10 days. Probably easier to show in written form. Anyway, just think about it. If you have a 50-pound dog that's male, use 50 milligrams every 10 days. That's what I would do. Has worked amazingly well for them. No side effects other than they just don't listen to us. But they didn't listen anyway. So I guess that didn't change.
They don't. They listen.
They listen when they want to, or if there's food involved.
Yeah.
Can't teach an old dog new tricks, but you can give it testosterone.
They are very stubborn.
You can give it testosterone.
But they're really sweet. We're very lucky.
Yes,
we are for German Shepherds, we are very lucky for how sweet they are.
They're very nice German Shepherds. I will say that.
Probably questionable if anything would ever happen. But
yeah, I know they definitely wouldn't protect us if someone had food.
No.
But maybe, hopefully we're never in a situation where that comes up. Any thoughts on 9M? I think it's in MEBC, not MBEC, but 9MEBC. I've never personally used it, but you could use like 5 to 10 to 15 milligrams per day to reset dopamine sensitivity. It does work well for that. So I would say that would be much more something reserved for people with dopamine issues, even to the side of Parkinson's, because that is a dopamine thing. And so it can be good, but I personally don't need it. Sometimes the last thing I need is another nootropic for sure, because I'll start doing Hunter encyclopedia rants, blah, 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 just talking uninhibited about things that are completely irrelevant. Cynthia got some MK777. It's good stuff. Seems to be working well for most of the people that we hear from and other people. Peptide, I put it in the chat, guys, but it was Mazdutide. Mazdutide. Did I miss any questions at the beginning? Yeah, we had some before we actually started. Shinna said, when one is on Retta, slow gastric emptying and pinning any growth hormone, would the stomach still be full at night? Would it be best to take empty stomach AM? A health influencer is suggesting. Thoughts. Here are my thoughts. It is relative to the levels of insulin in the body. Just because your gastric emptying slows does not always necessarily mean that your insulin is elevated.
True.
And also, too, Retta is making you more insulin sensitive, to which your insulin would come back to baseline faster in most cases. Not all cases, for some people. In most cases. And so I would actually say you could probably, I don't think it matters at all, but I would actually say you would probably be the inverse, because your insulin sensitivity is better on Retta. Thus, your insulin comes back to baseline faster, to which you could probably inject the growth hormone peptide faster, if anything.
And
now,
if like,
I think it's just a net nothing. And I don't think it matters. And the real question in all of this, before I let you talk, why are we doing growth hormone peptides anyway? Why are we just not taking growth hormone?
Well, okay, that's not fair. Because one, not everybody has access to them. Not everybody can afford growth hormone.
I don't know, man. It's like not that much more expensive if you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I get it. What I mean by that is that I never want to be because this question made me think about this. I never want to be a person that says, do as I say, not as I do. That's very big to me, because that's one of my pet peeves. And so I want people to call me out if I'm doing that. I will never sit and with a straight face tell someone to take a growth hormone peptide over growth hormone.
Oh, well, no. I mean, if you have the option.
And
I agree
What a
with
lot of
that.
people do is because in the peptide world, you can obviously make money selling growth hormone peptides.
Mhm.
They talk about those all the time, and they use growth hormone. I'm very upfront of what I use
Yeah.
when it comes to that. That being said, I don't think the growth hormone peptides are bad.
Well,
It's one
no.
of those things that the people that you hear talking about them a lot of times are using growth hormone. Now, I get some of those people don't use growth hormone because they're like philosophically differ. Um,
If
I just
they're
think it's
over if they look like they're a bodybuilder, they're using growth hormone. If they have a massive amount of muscle on them, they're using growth hormone. They're not using
yeah,
growth hormone peptides.
yeah. It's one of those things. And also this was top of mind this morning too, because I was reading this book completely unrelated to health while I was doing my cardio about finance and psychology, which is one of the most fascinating things you could study. And it talks about how like rich people. So listen to this for a second. And I promise I will bring this back
And what's the
to
name of this book?
called The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Came out in 2020. It's been around. It's always like a top 10 business
Mhm.
seller. I don't necessarily agree with everything in the book, but it's very enlightening nonetheless. And so in the finance world, you have mutual fund managers. And what they do is they manage other people's money via a mutual fund. So I go to them, they say, hey, we're going to invest your money in this mutual fund. It's a basket of stocks,
Mhm.
and you make money, they manage it for you. Very simple. 50% of mutual fund managers aren't invested in their own fund. Why would you invest in something that somebody's doing if they are not invested themselves? The question is then at what point what are they invested in?
Mhm.
Because their income depends on you investing in their fund, but they're not actually invested in it. And so to me, that's like a stakeholder problem of like the person that you're paying to get this result for you is not even invested in it.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because when it comes to let's just take this growth hormone peptide thing, which I've completely like bent to my will to like make another point, is a lot of people talk about the growth hormone peptides because they make money, but then they use growth hormone or they don't tell people they use growth hormone. And I know some people do,
Yeah.
but it's just
Well, it's
one
like
of those.
the natural bodybuilders that aren't natural.
Well, yeah, there's that
Yeah.
too. Um, which is a weird thing in today's age that you would still be like that.
Yeah.
But it's also it's like a vested interest thing. And for me, it's always been easier to just say, hey, I use this. Here's what you can do. I will talk about growth hormone peptides all day. Obviously, I've used them all. Obviously, I still use them sometimes for like specific use cases. But I just think, what's interesting too about the growth hormone peptides is a lot of times you can't control the amount of IGF that you end up getting out of those. And sometimes it's too much for people.
Yeah.
Whereas with growth hormone, you can basically, you can do half an IU, you can do one IU, you can do two IUs, and you can basically like titrate up and down how you respond so that you don't get the water retention or anything.
Yeah.
Sometimes with the peptides, any dose is going to create this like cascade that just maybe it's good or maybe it's not.
Mhm.
And it's just it's pretty variable, whereas the growth hormone is not. And so anyway, I just say that to say a lot of people use growth hormone, they don't talk about it. And I think it's superior to the growth hormone peptides. But to answer the question, I don't think it's a big deal.
No.
I think it's fine. At the end of the day, too, those like I think if someone, let's say you went and ate a turkey sandwich and then injected your CJC and IPA right before or right after, I think you're still going to get a benefit. The question is like how much benefit? Like how much is rate limited by the insulin spike? We obviously know it's some, but then again, we don't know.
Yeah.
But the question is, I think less important is the gastric emptying. More important is the insulin response and how fast your insulin comes back down, how fast the insulin works, your blood sugar comes back down. And the counter to this would be like, well, wouldn't Retta make you more insulin sensitive? Therefore, your blood sugar comes back down faster.
Plus, if you're taking like a SGL2 or if you're taking a metformin, berberine.
Yeah, then
like,
this question,
there's
like, what if you took an
those-
SGLT2 then it wouldn't matter at all because you just end up like
Yeah.
peeing it out. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, until you actually test this, it'd be hard to say.
Yeah.
So, but those are the thoughts around that. Sorry for the rabbit hole, but it related to something that I was thinking about. So, sorry, I'm trying to find my place back in the questions because I went back up to the top. Renata says, can you recap what minus GIP means? So basically, retatrutide has GLP-1 agonism, GIP agonism, and glucagon agonism. And Mazdutide basically removes the GIP, which is, I think, is shorthand for gastrointestinal polypeptide. That's what GIP stands for. What yogurt are you doing? It's just a homemade yogurt from one of our friends.
One of my good girlfriends is making a homemade yogurt right now, and it's actually more of like medicine rather than like actual just like yogurt. So it's like I basically take like anywhere between like a teaspoon to a tablespoon of this yogurt every morning, and she makes a new batch like every week. So yeah, I don't know. We're gonna have her on the podcast soon, so maybe she can explain.
Stay tuned.
Explain it more.
She definitely would explain it better than I could.
Yes, she is.
MK777 dose 10 milligrams at night. Can I take in the morning? Would I be able to dose up to 20 milligram a week? Week 3? Can you add IPA? I would see no reason to add IPA on top of that because they're similar mechanisms. They're both ghrelin agonists. So I see no reason to do that. You could definitely do 10 milligrams at night and 10 milligrams in the morning. I don't really know what the half-life is because we don't really know. This kind of just made its way out there.
Yeah.
If it's similar to MK677, you probably wouldn't need to dose it in the morning, but I don't know. And so I can't say. I don't think you would harm yourself, though, if you took it in the morning as opposed to at night. But when I've just taken it at night, it works throughout the day. Like when I train the next day, I can definitely feel it.
Yeah.
But I would just see what you like best. But I think 20 milligrams to me would be the upper end of the dosing for that.
Yeah.
I like 10 milligrams. 10 milligrams is good.
Yeah,
I think you can go to 20 milligrams,
yeah.
But I wouldn't go higher than 20 milligrams. Here's a really good question. How do you feel about using telmisartan as a preventative care for endothelial health while on a true TRT dose, which is 120 milligrams per week of enanthate? I asked because my blood pressure was slightly elevated to 130, 180. I actually talked to Dr. Abid Hussein, you should go check him out. He's at Boulder Longevity Institute. I did a podcast with him, and we actually mentioned telmisartan, and he takes it every day, and he's a very fit, very active, athletic guy. And so I would say yes, absolutely. The standard dose is 80 milligrams. You definitely don't need that much. I think you could even do, especially if your blood pressure is 130 over 80, just like 20 milligrams a day would work really well. 20 milligrams would be kind of like that microdose that you would get those benefits, but you don't need to get like the high blood pressure case benefits. And so I would say absolutely. And I've heard it from doctors that personally do that. It's part of their own protocol. Back to the stakeholder thing. He actually uses that every day in his life, and he likes it. And I have done that too. I will say this, with an addition of an SGLT2, I used to do telmisartan every day at 20 milligrams for this reason. With the SGLT2s, my blood pressure was dropping too low. So when you combine an SGLT2 with telmisartan, for someone that's already healthy, I think the SGLT2 has a similar effect on blood pressure. And so like the telmisartan is more manually forcing the blood pressure lower. And to me, that meant it was too low. And so like you get that kind of like dizzy feeling when you stand up and everything. And so I stopped taking it because I was taking the SGLT2. But if I didn't have that, I would be taking telmisartan. Or if I was taking a bunch of gear and my blood pressure started to go up, I would add in telmisartan for sure if I was doing like half a gram test or something like that for when the time comes. Not anytime soon. But anyway, that's my thoughts on it. And most men need that. I don't think women need that as much. Women, obviously blood pressure can be an issue for some women, but men, I think, are proportionally the ones that struggle with high blood pressure more. Lana says, I used TERS 2.5 milligrams to lose weight over 8 months. I reached my goal weight. When I taper off while maintaining a calorie deficit, I saw about 10-pound weight gain. How do I taper off TERS without gaining weight? Well, here is the thing is I don't know enough about the situation, but what I would say is that in the presence of HRT plus thyroid optimization plus growth hormone peptides or growth hormone optimization, this should be a non-issue. Meaning that if everything else from a pathway standpoint is addressed, if you're doing everything right, which it sounds like you are because you lost weight, you got your goal weight, I think this is one of those things where the GLP people You ever heard the saying, live by the sword, die by the sword? This is what some people are doing, is living by the sword and dying by the sword, by using the GLP as the one thing that gets you to your goal weight or doesn't get you to your goal weight.
Yeah.
And so it's like when you use it, it's great. When you lose it, it's bad. But clinical trials, women postmenopausal on HRT versus not using tirzepatide had 35% greater weight loss. And also, too, what does that mean? That when they come off,
they're going to relapse.
They're going to, if they don't have the hormones, they're likely going to relapse, versus the hormones are going to continue the metabolic momentum that they've had. And so that would be my thoughts. What do you think?
No, I agree. I would have said the same thing.
Well, as someone, would you say when you came off of GLP most recently in the last 2 months, did you gain your weight back?
Not necessarily, no. Like I didn't gain like all my weight back, but I mean, I did gain some.
I mean, you weren't using it particularly for weight loss.
I wasn't using it for weight loss, but do you notice some weight gain? Yes, but my weight gain was muscle mass because I didn't change what I was eating. Portions might have been higher, but I was still eating clean carbohydrates. I was still eating like healthy meals and not overindulgent. Also, I don't drink alcohol. That makes a big difference. I know I feel like I always bring up alcohol, but that makes a difference, especially when you're cycled off of GLPs. If you are a social drinker, I'm not saying this person is, but that makes a difference. But I know like when I'm off of it, I know I know I'm gaining muscle, which is why I've talked about in the past about like cycling your peptides along with cycling out your exercise plans. So it's like if you lost your goal weight, obviously you've lost a significant amount of body fat, hopefully, which is good. Now, anytime you go through a big change and drop like that, chances are you are going to possibly lose a little bit of muscle along with it, especially if you're not on hormones. So now instead of looking at it as like gaining the weight back, now it's time to let's switch up our fitness cycle. Because if you were in a fat loss mode, your fitness should be also like complementing that. Now you're off of it. Now let's focus on gaining muscle. Therefore, you're going to be in a calorie surplus, but at least you're gaining muscle. You're not necessarily like, are you going to gain fat a little bit with that? Yes, because it has to sit somewhere in some cases. But this is why like getting bod pod scans done and DEXA scans done is so beneficial when you're working with peptides and when you're in fat loss and muscle gaining modes. So I think that, that's kind of how psychologically, like how I try to like teach women to utilize peptides, because it does for women psychologically mess with us when we see the scale go up. Yeah. Like I do not weigh myself at home, maybe like twice a year. But like, if I know I'm not on a GLP, like I'm not going to weigh myself because I know the number is going to be higher on the scale, and muscle weighs more than fat. So like if people were to guess my weight, they probably wouldn't be able to guess the correct weight that I actually am.
Unless you're me.
Unless you're you.
That also comes from years of being a competitive athlete.
There's also being in the health and fitness world that like a stranger on the street wouldn't think that my body weight is what it is. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's it's kind of like you're dealing with the cards you have dealt. And so like if you're on a GLP, use the situational.
Yeah. But it's like, what's the weight gain? Is it water weight? Is it fat? Is it
that's
muscle?
The whole problem. Like, like 10-pound weight gain, was it all fat?
Yeah.
Or was it water? Was it? Yeah. So it's there's a lot of variables to which someone I feel like a lot of people beat themselves up unnecessarily. It's like, oh, I gained 10 pounds. And that was the one variable that they tracked.
It's like, did you gain 10 pounds, but do your clothes still fit? Like, what are your inches? Like, do your clothes still fit?
Yeah. Also, too, I will always go back to the mirror. Yeah. Like, I can track in the mirror and my photos. Ooh.
I can do.
That's not looking good. You better tighten it up. Versus like, okay, we're like sitting good right now. And everything's going good. Yeah. Very good question. I think very appropriate to what a lot of people are dealing with this right now. That is a very common thing. What's up, Kelly? She says, please give your thoughts on rapamycin for resetting hyperactive mTOR and activating autophagy. Any thoughts in general? Here's what I think. I think rapamycin does what it does really well. Taylor's looking at me like, "What
No, you're
the
fine. No,
are
you're
you
fine.
good?"
No.
Um, Rapamycin does what it does really well, which is suppress mTOR, which can be good for longevity. However, that is not necessarily always the best thing. If you suppress mTOR too much, you will begin to lose muscle, which then becomes counterproductive for longevity. I think if you wanted to do like 6 milligrams once a week of rapamycin, I don't have an issue with that. I would probably say that would be someone in their 50s and 60s. I wouldn't do that. I don't think someone in their 30s and 40s would need to do that. Also, too, we have a lot of other agents out there right now that kind of give us this suppression of mTOR benefit without some of the drawbacks of rapamycin, one being ATX304, another being the gold standard metformin.
Mhm.
And so if you give me metformin, rapamycin, ATX, I would pick metformin and ATX over rapamycin because I'm not going to have rapamycin is so much stronger than them. Now there is a lot of data around rapamycin being used in clinical trials for anti-aging, and it's
Mhm.
pretty good. However, just know that that is a consequence of it. And so I think given the tools that we have right now, and this is variable to change, this is like could very well change in the future as far as like where I stand on it.
Mhm.
I think there's so much out there that we don't need rapamycin. Between GLPs and AMPK activators and SGLT2s, like I just don't think we need it to get the result that we want. Like, is rapamycin that much better than those things, given the drawbacks of it, which is like the catabolic nature of suppressing mTOR? I don't think so. But I would concede that it once a week or once every 2 weeks could be used like for a day or two for like a recovery phase because of what it does, which is like reduce or increase mTOR in excuse me, inhibit mTOR and increase autophagy when we can kind of get some of those same effects from other things.
Yeah.
So that would be my opinion on it. Relevant, but I think there's better stuff. Wit says, been watching somebody reach their goal weight on Tirzepatide, but as a type 2 diabetic after 15 months, still 30 pounds off. Any tips for a type 2 diabetic to reach their goal weight? I would need to know more in terms of like the hormone piece of that, because if someone is still 30 pounds off from using Tirzepatide, especially if they're at higher doses, I would say something is not working. Whether it's
Mhm.
the hormones, the thyroid. I
Thyroid,
think this
yeah.
could be like a very clear indicator that the thyroid has
Thyroid.
become exhausted and is no longer functioning.
Mhm.
So that's why you could do thyroid bioregulators. You could do desiccated thyroid would be like my preferred method. I think there's that. And I think there's obviously other pathways we could hit, like mitochondrial peptides, things of that nature. And also too, I think this could be one of those things like it might be diet, meaning that it could be, is it a high fat, low carb diet? Whereas like a medium carb, high protein, moderate fat diet is
Yeah.
going to be a little bit better.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot there. And especially for a type 2 diabetic, I'm not going to tell a type 2 diabetic how to eat. I will tell you that I've seen type 2 diabetics reverse diabetes by retraining their insulin sensitivity using fruit fasting, using lower fat diets
Mhm.
to do that. And usually type 2 diabetics are deathly afraid of carbs and they try to eat like 6 small meals of fats, carbs, and protein, and it becomes very hard to get off that roller coaster.
And then the fiber, like, thrown in there too on top of that.
Well, the combination of the
Yeah.
fats and the carbs.
The
Whereas if you take a type 2 diabetic, they're not producing insulin as well.
I know.
Thus, the type 2 diabetes, you give them just fruit, all of a
Mhm.
sudden, like you're retraining their insulin sensitivity. You're basically like taking their body back to the gym
Mhm.
to understand how to digest carbohydrates.
Oh, some of the
that
fiber
fixes
and the
that.
fats being together, like how it's a
Right. The
negative.
carbs and the fat being together
Yeah.
is an issue for type 2 diabetics because it elevates basically the carbs elevate the blood sugar and the fats sustain the elevation.
Mhm.
If you remove the fats and the protein, you increase blood sugar, but your body becomes better at bringing using the insulin to bring the blood sugar back down. And so I would do that. I would think that's one of those things like if the GLPs, if you're living and dying by the sword, so to speak, um, obviously hormones are important, thyroid's important, and then also too comes a diet and training and all those things. Laura says I started at 20 milligrams twice a week and had nausea, switched to 40 milligrams. My nausea has gone away. I'm not sure what
Maybe you have
medication.
Mazdutide?
I mean, I don't know how you would take 40 milligrams of Mazdutide or any GLP for that matter.
I don't know.
So, what peptide has the best effects for kidney health? That is SS31. If you use 10 to 20 milligrams per day of SS31, you will notice really good benefits for the kidneys.
And SGLT.
SGLT2s as well, although not a peptide.
Not a peptide.
Very,
that
very,
would be very
beneficial for kidney disease. Anybody, ironically enough, I had a friend ask me this, what could help their kidneys? SS31 and SGLT2. There's other things you could do as well, but those two would really move the needle fast. And the Wolverine stack, that's absolutely beneficial. It's not going to hurt at all.
No.
It wouldn't be the first thing, though. My husband started HRT 3 months ago. Estradiol was 40, now 247. Total test was 392. Now 1035, free 278, now 802. I don't know if there's a question. Also, too, those units of measurement for the E2 and the test are Canadian and European. And off the top of my head, I don't have those like in terms of just what I know about the American measurements. I'm hungrier on Retta, but I'm still losing weight. I need the hunger as I was not eating enough. Very true. I think that's the one thing that we forget is that hunger is an indication that your body needs something. And if we were to remove hunger, it would be like there could be a lot of problems. You need to have
hunger. Like hunger, that's like one thing, like when people are like, oh, I still have, I mean, there's a difference between hunger and food noise. And I think sometimes people get those mixed up. But you need to have hunger. You need to be able to get your healthy amount of macros in.
Yeah. And I think that's too where Retta is so beneficial because if you're not as hungry, that could be a good thing because it's still doing what it does, which is create fat loss.
Yeah.
Mike says, can MK777 be taken pre-workout? Yeah, definitely could. I didn't ever experiment with that just because I got good effects from taking it at night. Yeah. I think you could take it pre-workout. Like take it at night and take it pre-workout. Sure. I think it'd probably work well. Is there something I can stack with Retta? My scale hasn't moved. HRT, thyroid, and then I would say growth hormone or a growth hormone peptide, mitochondria peptide. And I would start there before I would go to anything else.
Again, like get a body pod scan done so you can see.
Yeah, I mean, the scale hasn't moved. It's like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
You actually might be going in the right direction and you don't know it.
Yeah.
Or not. You could be going in the reverse direction.
Yeah.
But Lana says, great podcast on LDN. I take LDN in the morning because it disrupts my sleep. Will I still get the same benefits compared to taking night? Pretty much, yeah. I think the timing of how the endorphin release is going to be a little bit different, but I would say for the cumulative anti-inflammatory benefit and immune system benefit, yeah.
Yes. There's a good portion of people that can't take it at night.
Yeah.
Because it stimulates them.
Yeah, I'd say probably
it's like
25% of people
25%, yeah.
Don't really do well with it at night. Now, when you first start taking it, you might not do well at night, but if you give it a few days, then it usually goes away. But then some people just still can't.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Any updates on the state of my former channel? No, but if you go to library.hunterwilliamshealth.com, I've got all my old videos there and you can actually search the transcripts. I actually got that done yesterday, amongst other things. Which
really?
Talk about.
Get that done?
Yeah. Well, I was working on it on Thursday. But if you go to library.hunterwilliamshealth.com, I was able to upload all of my old videos and you can actually search them and it will search the transcript. So if you want to be like, whenever I talked about LDN or tesamorelin, it'll pull up all the videos that have that in the transcript. And so you can go watch it. I think there's like 214 videos or something on there. And I need to be good about making sure that I back up all the new videos to that as well in case any shenanigans. So, but that's the best place to go. Good question here. I haven't seen in a while. Can people on SSRIs take tesofensine? I personally would not. Tesofensine is a triple reuptake inhibitor. And so once you start mixing those, I don't know. I personally would not. I would try to come off the SSRI and then move over to tesofensine if you were going to and wanted to take it. Let's see. Oh, here's the question. It was cut off before. The clinic's pressure to use AI, but feels fantastic. Absolutely no side effects. Thoughts? Do not use an aromatase inhibitor. If you feel good, this is what a lot of these clinics don't understand is that you need higher levels of estrogen when your testosterone is higher. And because your estrogen goes up, and again, I don't know the picomole reference ranges for estrogen, and so I don't have it to compare to like the American units of estrogen. But if you feel good, do not use it. You will feel better with higher levels of estrogen that are proportionally relevant to the amount of testosterone in your body. And so I would say politely, no, thank you. I don't need that. And have a nice day. Or just take it and then throw it in the trash. If they really want to like make you like prescribe one to you, just be like, okay, and then throw it in the trash. Dosing and frequency for Cardilax knee injection should be combined with TB, BPC. Yeah, you can definitely combine it with BPC and TB 500. I would do once a day, 1 to 2 milligrams per day, and see where that takes you, and give it at least a few weeks, and ideally like 8 weeks if you do have issues. Will there be any peptides for prevention or treatment of macular degeneration? There's actually a lot of clinical data around SS31 preventing macular degeneration. I will be interested to see how humanin does, because humanin is also a mitochondrial peptide that works more specifically in the brain that could do that. And there's obviously like some of the eye bioregulators that you could get that I think SS31 and then BPC and TB500 eye drops do better than the bioregulators, but you could use all of those together and help with that.
Yeah.
You good?
Mm-hmm.
Taylor's giving me the look. I don't know. You sure?
Yes.
I've answered this before. I do not have thoughts on follistatin. So no thoughts. Best protocol for running SS31. Can you be on Reddit at the same time? You definitely can be on Reddit at the same time. Best protocol, I think 1 to 2 milligrams per day would be like the longevity optimization dose. 5 to 10 milligrams per day would be more of like a chronic acute issue dose. And then 10 to 20 milligrams per day would be like severe issues that you're trying to heal now. Like if someone was in stage 4 kidney disease or something like that, those would be the higher doses. And I mean, in clinical settings, they use 40 milligrams intravenously per day. And so there's no downside to doing that other than the cost. You okay?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yes.
You good? Is there something you need to tell me?
No,
Am I doing something?
No, you're good.
Taylor's looking at me like, she's giving me the look when I do something wrong. And so now I'm paranoid that I'm doing something wrong.
You're not doing anything wrong.
You sure?
Yes.
You got to use the bathroom? Do you need a bathroom break?
Just keep going. You're good.
Am I talking too much? Do I need to slow down?
You're good.
As for the timing, the GH peptide and insulin would CGM help to see if your insulin is still elevated. Yeah, obviously it would. It's going to track your blood sugar, but yeah, you could say like, hey, if my blood sugar is still really high, like you could use that as a proxy to measure. Where specifically do you get growth hormone? I don't know, and don't ask me in public settings because that could compromise the mission. So that is not for public consumption. You can go to a doctor and get it. I'm on 2.5 milligrams of Reddit and my liver and kidney markers look bad all of a sudden when prior they were clean. Is this typical? It is not typical.
No, it's not.
Do you have any thoughts?
No, it's
I'm
not.
just going to sit
No,
and
you're good.
do all the questions myself. No, it's not. I do think in some cases, liver and kidney markers would be weird that they would not improve. I do think in some cases, like Reddit is stimulating the nervous system, which could then like increase cortisol, which then like then downstream could have potentially a negative effect. But no, and it's kind of one of those things like, is it the Reddit or is it a lot of times when we introduce peptides, I do this myself. We always default to like something is wrong. It must be the peptide.
Yeah.
It's like we forget how many variables at any given time are going on in our lives.
Well, less people will drink less water on GLPs. So it's like also like this to me sounds like more of a detox issue.
It could be. It definitely could be.
Yeah.
No, but typically like liver fat reverses, like liver metrics improve.
Yeah.
Monumentally on Reddit. And so I'm not saying it's not,
no,
but I'm also saying just see what else is what other variables could you kind of put in there
Yeah.
and evaluate? Oh, thank you for the kind words. FPP, they said looking for BPC 157 dosing for rotator cuff and back pain, like how much and how often. Let's start with 500 micrograms twice per day and do that until it heals. And then you could throw in some other goodies too, like TB500, Cardilax. You can take it GHK if it doesn't burn too bad. I'm about to add ARA290 in the mix for pain relief. Is it better to stack with TB500 and BPC or IPA and Tessa? I rotate those. I don't think you have to. You can use all of those, but in terms of stacking for pain, absolutely TB500 and BPC are going to be better for that. But I've heard really good things. I think ARA290 is one of those that's very underrated for pain and neuropathy, and it's just lesser known. But the people that I hear that use it, fortunately, that's not something I deal with. I don't need to use it, but like the people that use it get really good results from it in most cases. Debbie says, I'm starting my 6th week of Clo and impressed with the progress. What do you suggest to take on my 4-week break after my 10th week? I take it Monday, Friday off. Weekends. I mean, you don't necessarily need to take anything in its place. And I don't know if you're using it for a specific, is like an injury or is it just for general recovery and anti-inflammatory purposes? But if you wanted to like kind of keep the momentum going from Clo, if it's like a joint thing, you could take Cardilax. That would be a good off-cycle thing you could rotate into. Cardilax, PEG MGF, those are good. ARA290, depending on the issue. But if it's just for general anti-inflammatory purposes, you might not need anything. You know, you can just kind of, if you're feeling good, you might not need it. It's a good question, and ultimately, I will tell you I don't know the exact answer, but it's a good thing to bring up. So there was a mistranslation about epitalon in the study. They used epithalamine. That's why dosages were around 10 milligrams, but the epitalon dosage is around 100 micrograms. Do I know anything? Yes. I err on the side of using the lower doses. So if you were to say 10 milligrams or 100 micrograms per day, I would use 100 micrograms. I personally use like 1 milligram a day for like 10 to 20 days, and then that's it. And I'll go off of it. And so that's kind of my preferred method. Now, I don't know if that's right according to the Russian literature, because again, there's like this mistranslation issue that no one seems to really know the answer. And I'm not going to claim I definitively know for sure. And so I err on the side, but there's some people who do like 10 milligrams a day for 10 days. I don't think you need that much. 1 milligram a day for me has always done really well for like improved sleep and everything. I think if you're going to do one, err on the side of the lower dose. A lot of the bioregulators, they say you only need like 200 micrograms, 300 micrograms. I think the dosing is better for the injectables at like 1 to 2 milligrams to see results. And I think if you're doing that, like over a 36-day period, it's not going to be too much. But I would definitely like err on the side of doing the lower dose of those if you were. So, are there any peptides or agents that target glucagon receptors that are not GLP? Not to my knowledge, although that may be something that people are working on. But the issue I think with that is that the glucagon would raise blood sugar, and what offsets that is the GLP. And so I don't know that we necessarily want that. It will increase energy expenditure, but at the cost, it might increase blood sugar. So, but again, I'm not smart enough to say one way or the other. Shinna says Hubs has high genetic lipoprotein. Any subs or peps or any way he can bring it down. He's very lean on TRT. I would try, the first thing I would try and just give this a shot, because usually this works really well, is citrus bergamot as a supplement that you could use. Obviously, like GLPs and SGLT2s and stuff like will translate, improve some of those cholesterol markers. But I would try citrus bergamot and see what that does first. I take that most days. Wondering if you can take tesamorelin with MK677. You could, although I probably would not combine those at the same time. I would just use them in different cycles. They are different mechanistically. So the tesamorelin is a GHRH, and the MK is a small molecule GHRP. And so they're different. And I know the thought is like, well, I can combine Tessa and IPA. Why can't I combine Tessa and MK?
Like, you're gonna be so bloated.
That would be the recipe for the bloating. You would definitely be like, that's like Michelin Man stack.
Yeah.
If you want to look like the Michelin Man, take those. So However, if someone's like a hard gainer,
Mhm.
they wanted to, like if they're really skinny,
Yeah.
that would probably help them
Yeah.
fill out. Kelly, I don't know. Do we know if the yogurt is L reuteri?
It is.
Oh, it
The one
is.
that we have right now
Okay.
is, yes.
Yeah. Good for gut inflammation, immune system. Terrell says, I'm overthinking, but looking for your recommendation. Timing of 2 IUs, GH, AM, or pre-bed. What are you guys taking yours? I just do mine at night before bed.
I do too.
If you really wanted to, I've done morning and bed before, or morning and pre-bed before. So you do 1 IU AM, 1 IU PM. I think at the end of the day, when it comes down to growth hormone, you just take it.
Yeah.
That's the best thing. And then you
Yeah.
can get into the nuances. I just like it before bed because it
I
helps
like
my
it before
sleep.
bed.
Yeah. I've done every which way. I've done morning and night. I've done
I
just
don't think
morning.
morning makes a difference though for fat loss. I don't.
Yeah.
Some people
It's
say it
hard
does,
because it's
but
like
I
it's like
don't.
it's like if you're doing it and then you're doing cardio, it's like, man, the fat loss is better. And it's like, was it, or did it matter that you took it in the morning?
No,
Because
I
you
don't.
do it at night and do cardio in the morning still.
Yeah.
I think there's just still enough in your system if you do it at night and you
Yeah.
do fasted cardio. It's still
I think it's, for me, I just get more benefits taking it at night for better sleep.
Yeah. You got to play around with it and see what you prefer and like best. What up, Echo? He says annual budget for blood testing company recommend looking 3 to 4 times a year. Also, big need to talk about find a doctor to consult on peptides, but they are dumb. Yeah, find a doctor. I say that like there's a lot of doctors I love and appreciate, but then there's also ones too that, well, anyway. Blood testing, I have, so if you go to a website called vanguardperform.com, I don't really promote this that much, but I have a website, or I have a friend that has a website called vanguardperform.com. What that is a discount lab testing site. They do labs in volume through Quest, and you can get like a total male panel for like $415. And if you use code HunterW, you get 10% off. So it's even under $400.
Yeah.
If you use that, that's the cheapest one I know. And again, when the lab testing is a commodity product, you're not getting any quality. If it's Quest, it's Quest. Like LabCorp is LabCorp. But yeah, I need to like put that in my email footer just because I know it's a question I get asked all the time. But yeah, vanguardperform.com and use code HunterW. You can do labs 3 to 4 times a year for under $1,200, which you think about it, like some people pay $1,200 for one lab. So you could get those done on your own. You could probably get it done cheaper through that than with insurance.
Oh, absolutely.
On your own in some cases.
Insurance isn't going to cover most of the things that we're getting tested.
Yeah. Insurance is a joke. Brad says, if I take 1 gram of TRT a day, is that optimal gain muscle and stay jacked? Yes, it is. Thank you. That was a very good comic relief.
Yes. Thanks,
1 gram
Brad.
of TRT. Yeah, 7 grams a week. You'll be good to go. Insulin sensitivity will be through the roof. Yeah, Kelly says husband took Jardiance in the morning and is regular low sartan in the evening and practically passed out. He's going to stop the low sartan and see if blood pressure stays low enough without it. Thoughts? That's exactly what I was talking about, Kelly. Is like in a lot of cases, the Jardiance is so good at what it does that it indirectly lowers blood pressure. And so when you combine the low sartan or the telmisartan on top of that, it ends up being too much because that's like a manual lever for lowering blood pressure. It's kind of one of those things like some of these like diabetes medications like GLPs, SGLT2s, they end up removing all these other medications a lot of people have to take because of what they do. You fix metabolic health and it fixes so many things. Just started peptides. Do we need to cycle off MOTS-C and SS31? We have been on 1 milligram daily for 8 weeks. We're enjoying the energy from those plus NAD. I mean, in a perfect world, you would, but I wouldn't say someone like, there's no magic rule that like in 8 weeks, you have to stop. I would just be aware that as you continue on them for longer, the results will start to diminish. And so the way you feel right now is really good, but by week 16, is it going to be the same? Probably still see some results, but like it's not going to be as strong. And so that's why you cycle on, cycle off, to like reset the sensitivity to those. And so again, I don't say like you have to stop, but it wouldn't be bad to say like, okay, I'm going to take 2 to 4 weeks off and then jump back on. Becca says, do you have experience with Actovegin dosing? Same question for Cerebroneurogen. I have both in ampoules. I don't with Activegin, so I don't really know about that because I've never used it. Cerebronergen is basically cerebroliacin, and so you would dose that the same way. For anyone who wants to know the clinical dosing for cerebroliacin, one, you can go to my library, which is now up, library.hunterwilliamshealth.com. Type in cerebroliacin, and all the videos that I talk about it, including a comprehensive guide, will come up. You can also go to cerebroliacin.com, click I'm a provider. You don't have to like fill in anything. It just says, they just want you to click I'm a provider. And then you can look at all of the instructions on how to use cerebroliacin. They have charts and everything on there. And so like, that's what I always default people to, especially with the ampoules, because you're doing the same thing as the manufacturer. What's up, Johnny? He says, I know you guys like ATX, but there's still not much info on it. Could you go over how it's different from SLU and how you would maybe utilize it in cycle? Yes. All right. Think about SLU as a mitochondrial enhancer. It basically is an estrogen-related receptor agonist. And by working on that pathway, it's going to increase mitochondrial biogenesis, which is going to upregulate these pathways that improve mitochondrial function, that then will increase energy, help us burn fat and everything. ATX is not like that at all. ATX, we were talking about mTOR and AMPK earlier. ATX is an AMPK activator, which means it activates AMPK in peripheral tissue, which then induces autophagy pathways that will then basically like induce, when we think of autophagy, think of like fasting, rest and relax, not muscle building and not growth. That's what ATX does. So by inducing more of like a fasting state in the body, it's going to help improve insulin sensitivity, cholesterol, all those things that we get from the benefits of fasting. That's basically what ATX is doing. Yes. That's why I say like ATX is an enhanced version of metformin.
Yeah.
Doesn't have the drawbacks of metformin. You don't lose muscle or anything like that. Not that metformin really does, but anyway, ATX is like a better version of metformin that also has like pretty good fat loss benefits because of the AMPK activation. Whereas SLU is completely on the other side. And the reason that I like that is you can definitely like overdo it with the AMPK activation. It's much harder to do that. Whereas like if you overdo it with the SLU, you're basically, or the way to think about it is that you're putting your car in the garage with the door closed and revving the engine and making a bunch of exhaust.
Yeah.
At some point, that's going to come back to bite you.
Yeah.
And that's what can happen with the SLU if it gets taken too far.
Yeah. And whereas if your mitochondria isn't in a good state,
yeah, if you have a bad car, it's going to be even worse.
It's going to be even worse if your mitochondria is not in a good state prior to like using SLU.
Old 1987 F-150 in the garage. Probably going to be even worse than a 2026 Tahoe.
He's like, why are you like trolling me right now? You have been trolling me this morning.
You just gave me the look like I was doing something wrong. So now I'm like paranoid that I'm doing something wrong.
No.
You sure?
Yes.
Are you thinking of something? It's either the I'm doing something wrong look, or you're thinking about something completely unrelated, or somebody said like a mean comment and you don't want to like acknowledge it. Someone said something mean.
Oh.
Okay. Well, anyway, this is our lives, guys. If we were having coffee on our porch right now, this would be what's going on. We just don't have a stream of questions coming in, but this would be like how the conversation would look. So, where was it at? Best peptide to lose muscle. Either they just was like a typo, or they were just being funny because they said best peptide to lose muscle but keep muscle. I think they meant to say best peptide to lose fat but keep muscle, to which I would say testosterone would be the best peptide. I'm joking, but retatrutide obviously would be pretty good at losing fat, and if you're doing everything right, you wouldn't lose muscle. Sorry. Just the way I read that is I was taking it so seriously that it's like read it again. What's up? So Fifi, the question is using Retta 0.3 to 0.4 milligrams per week still amps tinnitus, but knocked out histamine response and losing weight. I'm going to try TERS and see how it goes. Can I just switch midstream? At that low of a dose, that would be fine.
Yeah.
Like I have no issue switching the dose at 0.3 or 0.4, doing the same dose of tirzepatide, and you probably still get that same benefit, maybe minus the tinnitus. I haven't heard of that, but it definitely could happen. How do you lower SHBG? What I would do is take some boron and zinc first. I would make sure that I'm getting rid of all excess body fat that doesn't need to be there. I would do everything I can to live clean, make sure I don't have any toxins or anything like that. Make sure like my detox pathways are good. And then if it's still high, you kind of have to sit back and say like, okay, what do I do now? And then I think for a man, the easiest thing to like manually do this is obviously like something like a Proviron, which it'll just hammer it down really fast. And so that would be like the fast answer. But what I would say is like, why is it high? And can we address all those things first before I just say, okay, go take 25 milligrams of Proviron per day and be on your way. But that would do it. What's your favorite pre-workout for a training day that isn't an injectable? And can you stack injectable C-Max and C-Link? Easy question to answer. Yes, you can definitely stack injectable C-Max and C-Link. You can inject those. You can do nasal spray. Those are totally fine to use together. I'll let Taylor go first. What is your favorite pre-workout?
I would say probably the ones from Unmatched are my favorite.
I love those.
I like the ones
because they don't have
I like the stimulating one. They have like a non-stimulating one.
The BH2K.
The BH, yeah.
That's the one that has paraxanthine in it.
Yeah. I like that one.
Yeah. Paraxanthine is pretty sweet.
Yeah. That's probably my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the Dissident, which doesn't have that in it. It's a non-stem pump, but those do work really well. I would say like oral pre-workouts that are not anabolics. Dada, you can do oral Dada or transdermal Dada for sure. I wouldn't probably like pre-lifting. I would not do the Yohimbine cream.
No,
you don't want to do
that's more like that's a
pre-workout
pre-workout cardio. Think of that for cardio.
Yeah.
ATX, that's a great pre-cardio workout.
I would not take that.
I would not take that for
or post-lift
or post-lifting.
I would keep that
for like a fasting cardio day.
Yeah. I think about that the same way. Like I would not take metformin around the lift. I would not do ATX around the lift because you want the mTOR to create the muscle growth there. But yeah, I think Unmatched. I think my code there is Hunter W as well. If you want it for like, it's only like 10% off, but great stuff, great products. I love the protein powder.
They just came out with new protein powders and they're
really good.
They're so good. They're grass-fed whey and they're the French vanilla.
Yeah,
is amazing.
We really like this brand called Podium that had French vanilla, and it's harder to find now. It used to be on Amazon. I don't think it's on Amazon anymore.
It used to be at Vitamin Shops.
Yeah, it used to be a Vitamin Shop. It's not there anymore. Their vanilla buttercream was really good.
Yeah.
And we would make the Ninja Creamy ice cream with it. But now we've been doing Greek yogurt with the Unmatched whey, and that is really good.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You got to cut it with milk, though, because I tried making it with just... I did make it one night with just Greek yogurt, and it was a little too...
you got to add some little milk
I don't know,
into
too tangy.
Yeah, you got to add a little
Which if you're using, like, organic grass-fed Greek yogurt, like, it is a lot more, like, tangier and sour.
Yeah. But that's my favorite. I know. I mean, there's so many pre-workouts out there, but that would be my recommendation.
Unmatched is the only one that doesn't like hurt my stomach.
Yeah. Thank you. Great. They said great deep dive on LDN. Looking forward to seeing if it may help with perimenopause, specifically cognitive issues, inflammation. I think so. I think women shine. Like LDN shines.
I think every woman should be on LDN.
Yeah. You know, maybe let's talk about that for a second because you went off of it and then have like resumed going back on it. How do you feel since being back on it? Because you're like, I'm just not like feeling it right now. You took some time off.
Yeah, I took some time off, and I don't know. I feel like my nerve, like I feel inflammation wise, like I don't feel like I have any inflammation going on. I think my sleep is better. My cortisol feels a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah, I think LDN shines.
I think it does a lot for the nervous system for women.
Yeah. Renata says, I've heard recently about another peptide similar to BPC 157, a few letters as well, but forgot the name. It was allergic to be prescribed. I think they meant allowed to be prescribed online by doctors. Yes, that is called Pentadeca peptide. It's called PDA, basically. Is it? Yeah, it's like pentadecapeptide something. But basically it's like BPC 157. I think it's almost the exact same thing. They just changed the name of it for doctors to be able to prescribe it. But yes, same thing. You can buy it from like places. There might be like a slight tweak to the molecule or something, but BPC 157 is a pentadecapeptide. So it's like pentadecapeptide. I think really they just kind of changed the name of it. It's kind of like saying, again, I know it might be a little bit different, but like how research sites call it like GLP-3.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Echo says, I'm planning a short senolytic FOXO4 for micro YK11 cycle, planning carefully, great bloods, first senolytic cycle using peptides and PEDs for about 2 years, support stack recommendations. Yeah, I mean, the FOXO4 is going to be good. You might have like a little bit of flu-like symptoms if you run 1 milligram a day for 10 days in a row. That would be my recommended cycle. The YK11, I'm kind of like, I don't want to go. Like, I personally wouldn't go to the YK11. YK11 is a myostatin inhibitor, but it can have, we talk about myostatin inhibition. I'm not going to make this like a talk about that, but there's just things you have to be ready for that can be negative side effects.
Yeah. I feel like their immune system's going to tank.
That's one of the side effects.
With doing potential and the Y.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah. I get it because it's like use the FOXO4 to like clean the system.
Yeah.
And then be like in a good state. But I wouldn't do it like, I would like give it at least a week or two after the FOXO4 if you were going to do that. But here's my thing is like, why would I use YK11 when I could use growth hormone?
Yeah.
Because I'll get as good benefit. Like test growth hormone and Primo if you really want to get jacked all day. Like those are
it's more sustainable.
Yeah, they're so tried and true. So much human data works so well. Versus like YK11, we don't really know what the unintended consequences of it are.
Yeah.
And we know there are some bad ones. And so again, that's not like my territory as much of like going into like the PED side. But I mean, it is pretty hard to beat test Primo and GH.
Yeah.
Test Primo and GH is like,
and the shape of the muscle that you get with it, I think is a lot more dense. It's harder. I feel like when I've seen people with the myostatin inhibitors, it's going to be more of a water look.
Yeah. For sure. Can MK777 cause bloating and hunger?
I did not experience that with it.
In my experience, it did not. Like 677 could and does. What's up, Robert? He says free test 227 and test bioavailable 448. What's the difference between the two? SHBG 34. It's just a calculation difference. So they're just doing some sort of calculation. I don't know off the top of my head. I think the bioavailable test, they're just like measuring total minus SHBG or something like that. And then the free test is actually like a calculation of free testosterone in the blood. I would look more at the free test and then the SHBG. But the SHBG, that's fine. It's a little on the higher end, but it's totally fine. So a couple of friends have fibromyalgia. Is LDN a good choice? Yes. Good choice. I mean, is it going to heal everything? No, but it does work well. Interesting question. C. Weezy says, any experience with J147 dosing? Yes, I would start at 10 milligrams per day. I would not go higher than 20 milligrams to 30 milligrams per day if you were doing J147 in isolation. I do love J147 for the cognitive benefits. J147 is basically like a mitochondrial enhancer specifically for the brain. So it helps with ATP in the brain. Similar to creatine, kind of more of like a creatine enhanced creatine version for the brain. What?
Somebody sent me a TikTok saying that creatine is turning people
it's got the
trans.
nanobots. It's trans, yes. Well, maybe it is, but I don't think everything else that's in our world is helping. So,
yeah.
Anyway, B7333, I actually injected this morning. B7333 is actually a blood pressure lowering peptide that also is an anti-fibrotic peptide. And why did I inject it? Because it was in my refrigerator and I've been using it and I just hadn't been using it. I was like, let me take some of that this morning because I kind of felt like a little bit of water retention. And does it help? I don't know. And I know it's more of a blood pressure peptide than anti-fibrotic peptide. Dosing wise, I would start with like 300 to 600 micrograms per day. And I've used that and it's worked really well. Probably be talking about that more in the future. It's just one of those ones like no one even knows about it. And there's some research companies selling it. But again, if you don't have high blood pressure, it's like, how do you know if it's working? We don't really.
Yeah.
But I think it could end up being like a good alternative to like a BPC or something for inflammation because it has some anti-inflammatory properties. Just got glutathione, 1,200 milligrams. What do you recommend on dosage? I would do like 100 to 200 milligrams 2 to 3 times per week is what I do. Also, the transdermal glutathione, pretty good player. Definitely doesn't hurt as much as the injections. Rusty says, I'm currently on Retta 4 milligrams a week, and I also take a multivitamin, magnesium, Jardiance, taurine. Would it be okay to add LDN at 1.5 milligrams? Absolutely. There would be no redundancy, and there would only be benefit, in my opinion, for there. Becca says, agree, love ARE 290. Amazing results here for nerve damage as well as cognitive benefits, and it's anti-inflammatory. There you go. It's just one of those ones like not a lot of people know about. But it is a spectacular peptide. Rusty says, I also have a really bad shoulder and it's been killing for ages. I recently got some BPC. Would taking it sub-Q still help or would I have to pin in the area? Definitely want to pin in the area.
Yeah.
Sub-Q is not going to hurt, but it's also not going to give you the benefits. Thoughts on mirabegron for fat loss? This is so funny. There's like a lot of synchronicities in the chat today. I recorded a video this week that I'm hopefully going to release next week called the non-GLP-1 fat loss agents. I actually talked about mirabegron in it. Albuterol is a beta-2 agonist and mirabegron is a beta-3 agonist. It's actually prescribed for overactive bladder, but it also creates fat loss above and beyond like kind of what albuterol would do. So it's one of those ones, the one drawback is that like when you get into higher doses that work really well for fat loss, it also causes tachycardia. And so you have to be careful with like how high you dose it. But it works great. I would say for fat loss, probably like the 50 to 100 milligrams is going to be like the safe range. People will go up to like 200 milligrams, and that's where you can really see like the heart rate issues. But it works really well. Again, it's one of those things too. It's like albuterol. You'll get like a few weeks of benefit out of it, and then it's going to stop working.
Stimulate you?
Oh, yeah.
Like albuterol?
Yeah. Yeah, so that's just what you have to
be
be
more stimulating than albuterol?
Potentially. Yeah, depending on the dose.
Yeah.
So. On TRT, E2 is 80, SHBG is the same. Do you recommend AI? I've seen different opinions on AI. I never recommend an AI WIT. I don't think 80 is that high, but if you're 30 pounds overweight, that's likely coming from the fact that you're overweight, not the fact that you're a high aromatizer. And so the less visceral body fat you have on, the higher you're going to aromatize. But again, I wouldn't say 80 is dangerous. But if your SHBG is that high, that's telling me that you have too much visceral body fat that needs to come down, because if you have high body fat, the SHBG will go up, which then binds the testosterone and prevents you from having higher free testosterone levels. But I would not use an AI whatsoever. There are a lot of stops along the way too. Like if you take metformin has aromatase inhibiting properties because it reduces visceral body fat and also the reduction. It reduces the expression of aromatase enzyme in the fat tissue.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, for goodness sake, please just take like 1,000 milligrams a day of metformin before you take an AI.
Yeah.
And you might notice the benefit. But then again, it depends on if you have symptoms too.
Yeah.
I've had my estrogen as high as like 130 and I don't have any high estrogen symptoms, and I like to run around like 60, 70 is where I feel really good. So. Mallory says, I recently had surgery. I'm taking GHK, TB500, BPC, Cardilax, and PEG MGF. Had a histamine reaction. Do you recommend lowering dosing to avoid reaction? Amongst those things, I would drop the GHK.
I would drop the GHK.
That's probably what caused it. And
reaction.
In those cases, when you're having a surgery, the last thing you want to do is like irritate it on top. And so sometimes you just can't have the GHK in there.
Yeah.
So. I agree. Robert says, not to get in the weeds. Hey, that's what we do. I go all in the weeds. By taking HGH at night, aren't you blunting your natural growth hormone pulse at night? Yes, you are. And it's similar, albeit a little bit different than if we were taking TRT. Aren't we blunting our natural production? Yes, we are. The question is like, do the cost or the benefits outweigh the cost? To me, it does. And also, too, what's interesting about growth hormone is typically you recover production within like 1 to 2 weeks of stopping it, whatever natural production you have. And so, yes, you would be. But the question is like, I fully realize by taking testosterone that I'm stopping my natural production, but the benefit is greater than the cost. Can you take, we talked about that, Tessa and MK77. We went over that one. I don't know if it was the same person that asked, but here's a good question. How do you know when your mitochondria are optimized?
What do you think?
You don't. There is this like me screen test that is supposed to test your mitochondria, but then you have to have a doctor interpret it for you.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess that would be a way to test it. But I think the mitochondria being optimized is always one of the things. Like, take like red light therapy, for instance. Everyone benefits from red light therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Babies, old people, young people, middle-aged people, healthy, sick. Everyone benefits because it's improving your mitochondrial health. And so it's like, I think if you feel good, your mitochondria are probably pretty good,
Mm-hmm.
but that doesn't mean they can't be improved. And it's something you can always work on. And so how do you know, should I take like SS31 or should I take MOTS-C? I mean, it's just kind of a personal preference thing. How do you know? So it's a lot harder to test than just doing like blood work for testosterone. Thoughts on glutathione for liver health? I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
I think it's like the biggest thing that you could do to improve liver health is use glutathione. So I use it once or twice a week, every week. All right, let's see. Following up on the SHBG situation, my free T is only 0.7% of my total T, and SHBG is 76. I've lost 84 pounds over the last year. I am not 6% body fat. Could this be the reason why? Are they saying I am now 6% body fat and not 6% body fat? I don't know. Now, okay, I see he's corrected that. Yeah, definitely could. A lot of times when someone loses a lot of weight like that, there's a residual cascade to which the SHBG can stay elevated.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that case, yes, something like a Proviron, obviously boron and zinc, and that could help initially. But that could be warranted in a situation like that. Carrie, if you just go to library.hunterwilliamshealth.com, it's got all the old videos on there. What's up? David is in the house this morning. He said friends started Epitalon, only 2 milligrams a night, and having severe diarrhea now 5 days straight. Ever seen this? I have never seen that, but if it is causing distress, I would definitely remove it.
Yeah.
You definitely could use something like Pineolon there on Retta, Tessa, and SS31 also. Could also be the SS31 enhancing the Retta. Maybe the Epitalon is enhancing the Retta too. And so there's a lot of play there. So if the Epitalon was the one thing that set him over the edge, I would remove it, assuming that like all those other things are doing well. But I don't know why that would happen.
I feel like it would happen with SS31.
Yeah, it definitely could happen with SS31. People get diarrhea from SS31 for sure because they're like gut is
especially the first time taking it.
I forget about that, but the first time I took,
I don't forget about it.
Well, no, the first time I use SS31, even if I've cycled off, it's like back on. I always forget that, but like the first day or two, you definitely have like I guess you would call it like an autophagy, an autophagy bowel movement. Yeah, because you're like clearing a lot out of the gut. It's interesting to go back to the mitochondria question, like how much is improved by mitochondria? Like we have mitochondria in our gut, we improve that, and then the gut cleans itself up. Dose of ARA 290 for neuropathy pain, I'd say 2 to 4 milligrams per day. Clinical trials use 4 milligrams per day. Just to add about my shoulder, can you pin using a pin with a 5 millimeter needle, or would it have to be insulin syringe? No, you could use a 5 millimeter needle on a pin. That's fine. I like 8 millimeter on the pins, but 5 is fine too. Ollie says AOD 9604. Currently on 3, I use a GH 5 times a week. TRT 20 milligrams a day. On AOD 250 micrograms 2 times a day. Is it better to just add more GH to say 4 IUs than get more AOD for fat loss benefits? If you're responding well to it, I think so. I think 4 IUs is kind of the threshold dose. Like you can probably get more fat loss at like 8 IUs of GH, but the consequences for a lot of people could be worse if you don't build up to that and you're not like a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
So I think 4 IUs is kind of like that threshold dose. Like beyond that, you might get like more water retention. But if you're responding well to 3 and it's working, I personally am going to say like the GH is going to do better than the AOD for fat loss. Oh, wow. We're already at the bottom of the questions. Kelly says, had a tiny mole removed pre-melanoma. Could MT1 contribute to that? I admit to liking the sun, but I also love MT1. Potentially, I've seen melanotan 2 have more issues with that, at least anecdotally and in literature. You don't really see it with melanotan 1, though. So I'm not saying it's not, but I'm not saying it is either. And I think if anything, melanotan 1, I think a lot of the skin cancer risk comes from the fact that people are burning. And so it's like the inflammatory response is created after the burn. And if we prevent the burn, I think a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times that can help with that. And so, yeah, I'm not saying it's not, but I don't know that it is, but it seems like melanotan 2 would have more of an issue with that if you're overdosing it than melanotan would. But again, it's tough because it's like, again, to go back to, there's just like so many variables out there to say like which one's causing which.
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah, Ollie says, loved LDN video. Started a few weeks ago and loving the improvements already. Thank you, Ollie. We appreciate you. Appreciate the support. Without you guys, we would not be here for sure. Next question. And guys, we'll hang out for like 30 more minutes if you guys want to keep dropping questions. We're down to the end.
Yeah.
Or I'll just sit and annoy Taylor for 30 minutes for the public good.
Yeah.
On TRT pellets, at end of 90 days, results were test 931, free 41, estradiol 26, T4 1.06, TSH 2.29, LH less than 0.3, FSH less than 0.3. Does it seem reasonable? Yeah, that sounds about like someone on testosterone therapy. And again, so like philosophically, I don't like pellets, but if something works for someone, since we have time, I'll tell a story. So Coach Jim Grobe, when I played college football at Wake Forest University, told us this story one time. And I can't remember what the situation was, but like people were complaining about the food that we were getting because it wasn't healthy enough. And it became like a thing of like, hey, like we want like cleaner, healthier food that we weren't getting in the dining hall. And it was brought to his attention. And he had us like huddled up one day after practice. And he told us a story because he used to like coach college and high school football in West Virginia, I think. And he's like, you know, like Bucky Smith or somebody in West Virginia that was on his team. They would have the team meal before the game and they would have like a healthy meal. And he always ate 2 bags of Doritos and a Mountain Dew. And he was the best player on their team. And there was one game he didn't get his Doritos and Mountain Dew and he had like his worst game. And so he always went back to eating two bags of Doritos.
Like full bags of Doritos or like
I think they're like
the
snack size ones.
Okay.
So 2 little snack size bags of Doritos and a Mountain Dew before the game. And the one time he didn't have that
red dye and the sugar.
Yeah. The one time he didn't have that, he played well and they lost. Or he didn't play well and they lost. And the moral of the story that he was trying to tell us is like, there are things that you can change like that. But if something works for someone, you don't stop what's working for them. And to go back to pellets, is like philosophically, I would never recommend pellets to anyone. But is that better than nothing? Like, is this person more metabolically healthy now because their testosterone's higher, their free testosterone's higher? Everything from what they said on their blood work to me looks improved over what it probably was before the pellets.
Yeah. Pellets are better than nothing.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying is like, if it works for someone, I'm never going to tell anyone like if something doesn't work for someone, to not do it. Is there better pregame meal than Doritos and Mountain Dew? Yeah.
Were you one of the ones that was complaining about the food and wanting healthier food options?
I had no sway to complain. So I was of the opinion that the food was not healthy enough, but it wouldn't have mattered what I said because I was a practice.
So you weren't one of the ones that were complaining about it?
Not formally.
Not formally.
To the powers that be at that time in my life, which were the football coaches. At that time, because I was a walk-on during that phase, and like I could have complained about something, and they would have just said, "Get out of here and go back to class or whatever." So it would evolve to where the point, like when we had a new coaching staff, that I did have say, and we did get healthier food, thankfully. But yeah, we would have like chicken tenders or like pizza after practice and stuff. And guys would be like, what is it? How are we going to win games? Like, we got to play Florida State this week. Like, how are we going to win if we're eating chicken tenders and pizza on a Tuesday? You got to play on Saturday. But he had a point. He'd been coaching for 40 years at that point. So, like, he had a point. Like, hey, you got to do what you got to do to win. Mm-hmm. You know, like sometimes what is going to help someone else win is not going to be what helps you win. And that's where when it comes back to this stuff, that it's like, I always want to have that perspective because it's very easy to get into dogma, and like dogma is the enemy of progress. You know, like dogma is what like prevents this. So it's like, do I, based on what I know, think pellets are good? No, but if it doesn't work for someone, I'm not going to fight them on that at all, you know, so. When taking the LDN, do you add it to take every day or can be used like a few times a week? I mean, you definitely could use it a few times a week if you wanted to. I take it every day, but shout out from South Carolina. Do we know that person?
I don't think so.
People we know are traveling to South Carolina this morning.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if that's them. I thought I was thinking about my parents, but I don't even think they would know how to like comment. They might be watching.
Your mom would like call you, like pick up the phone while you're like live streaming.
No, because I wonder. Do you think today's her birthday? So I talked to her before.
Well, this is
the live stream, and she said that they might watch it.
I've wanted to always do this, and I think you can do this in StreamYard. But like, if I just like had someone call my phone, and like, would you be able to hear them on the mic?
You had on
like
speaker,
if I put the speaker,
probably.
If I put the speaker out.
Why don't you call my dad? I'm sure he has a lot to say along all these topics of things.
Yeah. Because I love the idea of like calling radio, and like sometimes it'd be cool to do this. Go to war stack. Aliens are invading. Superhuman effects. What would you do? Good question. I mean, you gotta have testosterone. Obviously.
Yeah. Would
that be a case for like Trin or Halo testing?
Oh, probably.
Like if your aliens are coming, like everything's on the table.
Trin, DHT,
injectable. Yeah. Injectable DHT, because like the Trin's just going to make you irrational, where the injectable DHT will make you more rational, but still have like the go.
Yeah. You know, for a woman.
Yeah. Maybe injectable DHT for a woman. I mean, if they, like I said, if they're here, they're landing on the White House lawn. What are you going to do?
They've already landed.
Disclosure is there for anyone who wants to see it, but they're amongst us. But yeah, it's I would say testosterone would be like a mandatory. Like have a stock of testosterone, some injectable DHT, throw in an oral Anavar or something like that, get you aggressive.
Yeah.
Maybe some D-ball. Peptide wise, I don't know if there's gonna be peptides that are gonna be like, maybe you'd want like a cognitive peptide to like help you focus.
You'd want like LO37 in case like you get like an infection or something. Or
you want some new peps.
Yeah.
Some dihexa to really like focus, strategize about how you're gonna beat them.
Just not sleep. Some daffodil.
It makes you think though, like for the people that are like fighting wars, like what are they giving them? TRT clinic recommendations. Nothing officially. If you email me, I can kind of help hook you up. You talk about stacking IPA and TESTA simultaneously. I think you can do it. That's like the strongest peptide growth hormone stack if you're using peptides.
I wouldn't do it.
So a lot of people, I think the one case for that would be like a guy that wants to bulk up.
Yeah.
They'll get really strong and big.
Yeah.
But I think women, it might be too much for a lot of women.
Or unless you're a woman who's like extremely lean and needs to put a lot of body mass on.
Oh boy. Did I see somebody's video talking about research peptides, even 99% pure would have 1% LPS and the rest, and it's a big concern. I get frustrated seeing stuff like that and people jumping all over it. I mean, where do I start with something like this? I have no intention of like disparaging anyone. Upton Sinclair said, don't try to teach a man something that his income depends on him not understanding.
Yeah.
This man's income does not depend on that. Therefore, he has a vested interest in you not doing that
Mm-hmm.
to buy his products.
Yeah.
Now, is that true? Yes. Just because something is 99% pure doesn't mean that it can't have endotoxins. It could be 95% and not have endotoxins, and be 99% and still have endotoxins.
Yeah.
But the heart of the message is those are dangerous and you better stay away from them. And you also better buy them from me.
Yeah.
Because I'm the arbiter and the gatekeeper of what's true. Which is, I mean, that's what a lot of people in the research peptide world do that. People on the mainstream world do that. So if I understand Ollie, like, because these people do not exist in the same universe as us. They're up here and we're down here. And no matter like how many people ever follow me, there's certain things that will always keep us like in a gap between that. And so what I'm telling you is that that Kendrick Lamar song, They're Not Like Us. They're not like us.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'll say. And so why do you think algorithms systematically oppress people like us? Because we're not the only ones by far.
No.
And why do they promote people that say certain things? I'll just leave it at that. Like, understand where the message is coming from. And the best thing to do is just not be on social media as a consumer. I would be a creator on social media. Share what you know, share what you're learning, interact with people. But don't be the person that's fighting in a comment over that one way or the other, because that, like, when people say negative things to me, I kind of laugh, although it is hurtful. When people say negative things, I laugh because those people are promoting my content by saying negative things.
Yeah.
And when you get sucked into that, like, I don't know what this person says because I don't follow him and I don't care. And I know what he's going to say. So, like, why would I just anger myself and think, why does he have a platform and not me? How come he gets millions of followers and I can't even exist on social media? And when you understand the game, then it becomes clear. It's like, oh, well, they're not like us, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what it is. But to the point, like, the thing that's funny about this is, like, you can't deny that that's a factual thing, but it's also contextually deceiving. Like, it's contextually deceptive.
Yeah.
But it's not wrong at the same time. And that's what people like that are really, really smart at doing, is being, like, factually correct, but contextually deceptive. And that's what's sad, because there's a lot of benefits. I don't care where people get peptides from. Like, I'm not advertising anyone to buy peptides on this show.
No.
Like, I don't care where you get them from. Doctor, research, wherever, you know. Whenever someone is telling you something, just ask why. Who benefits from that, and who benefits from the saying of that? So that's what I'll say. Do you have any thoughts?
No, I just don't know how this person still has like any form of platform with things that have come out. So I just think this person's a disgusting human being, in my opinion.
Well, if you look at the woman's side of that, that would be
yeah.
Factually accurate, contextually deceptive. You have seven girlfriends.
Just how
like,
corrupt, just how much, like, everything is just a scam. They're all being run.
Let's say if AG1 offered me $10 million to put a bottle of AG1 in this shot right here, I wouldn't do it.
No.
I guess everyone has a price, but, like, dude, AG1, really? Like, I think, as with, like, financial literacy, like, the world is predicated on people's lack of awareness. Like, if you just looked at the ingredients on that, you'd be like, okay, what am I getting here? I'm actually all for, like, if I could get all of my multivitamins and supplements into, like, one supplement, I would buy that supplement. But it ain't AG1.
Yeah.
Maybe I just, like, what I should do is, like, sit down with my supplement box and be like, what do I all take in this? And, like, what could be combined together into, like, a drink powder?
Yeah.
Because some of them could, some of them probably couldn't. But anyway, I didn't even think about that in that, but it's a good point of like the biggest thing that I quote unquote sell is trust with people. And that's why
Yeah.
like I'm not going to get on here and tell you like where to go buy peptides at anymore. That's
Yeah.
why I'm not going to like do those things, because the biggest thing I can do is get on a live stream with the people that care about this stuff and care
Yeah.
about us and support us and engage with them and actually give them something that like they can walk away with and help themselves.
Yeah.
How come people like that don't do live streams where they answer questions?
Because they don't
because they
really
would get
actually know the answers to any of the
no,
questions.
they would know the answer to the questions. They don't want to. They don't want to engage with the people
No.
like of
No,
what they do.
because it's all ego.
I think it's that, but it's also too like if they opened it up for questions, there would be women on saying those things like, "Hey,
Yeah.
how can we trust you based on
your
this?"
actions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get that, like, we were public people, so, like, people are gonna say negative things about us, but I
Yeah.
will always do my best, like, wherever it is to, like, be as honest and upfront
Yeah.
about, like, "Hey."
I don't think there's like that much negative.
No, especially, like, relative, because here's the
So
thing
what's
is, like
actually true.
yeah, it's, like, probably when it's all said and done, within a week, like, 10,000 people will watch this
Mm-hmm.
between the live stream and the recording on Spotify and YouTube and stuff, and about, let's see, 10,000 people, let's say it gets 50 comments, what would that be? I'm doing public math right now, so 1,000 would be 10%, 100
Yeah.
would be 1%, 50 comments would be 0.5% of the people. So 0.5% of the people comment, 99% of those are positive. And so, like, such a small fraction of what is negative. And then I think most of the people that are watching they're obviously not gonna spend their time watching if they have a negative view of it.
Yeah.
And so what's interesting is like you get to this point where you realize like 99% of the interactions you have are one-sided. Meaning that like a lot of people consume our content and they're just we'll never know. We'll never know their names, we'll never know what they think about it. Or
Yeah.
hopefully it's positive. In a lot of cases it is positive. But that's as a creator, you have to like remind yourself and stay grounded of like, oh, like if I get one negative comment, that's such a small fraction.
Yeah.
I'm more likely to have someone flip me off going down the road randomly than have a person say something negative
Yeah.
to my content, which is pretty cool. But I think overall, to go back to it, is like what I sell is trust, meaning like the biggest thing for me, because I'm doing this, I plan on doing this as long as I'm here, is to have people trust me.
Yeah.
To know that I'm not going to go on and like say like, hey, use this. Like if I'm not going to use something myself, I'm not going to sit here.
No, there's a reason why we don't talk about certain things.
Yeah.
Even certain things that are
in the peptide world.
in the peptide world that are more popular.
Yeah.
Right now.
So
there's a reason why we don't use them.
Yeah. And again, I don't say this as like I'm on some moral high horse or anything. Please, like I'm not perfect. I'm not a perfect person. Never have been, never will be. But it is frustrating because it's like, how can you say the one thing that is counter to like what we all know to be true? And then that's what gets the attention.
Yeah.
Well, who controls?
Yeah.
Who benefits? So anyway, long-winded answer.
Yeah.
There's a lot more where that came from, as I say.
I'm sure I'll hear more about it later.
Ever tried ginkgo biloba for cognitive benefits? Yeah, it's good. I think it's good. It's just a supplement you can get from any store. C-Link and C-Max are not effective. That's not uncommon. Like C-Max and C-Link for a lot of people don't really do anything.
Yeah.
I would try the N-acetyl-amidated versions of those, tend to have a little bit better effect. Dihexa is definitely more of like a nootropic that I like. Cerebralizin, obviously, not a direct nootropic, but will definitely help the brain. This is a good question. How would you go from switching to injection from pellets, slowly introduce injection as pellets dissolve and keep testing? What I would just do is when you're due to get your pellets out, the day that you get your pellets out, like the next day, just start injecting.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
And you should be good.
Yeah.
I don't think, because like by the time the pellets are coming out,
your pellets are basically your metabolism out. They're not no longer.
And then just start at a low dose of injection just to kind of ease into it.
Yeah.
You know, 1 to 2 milligrams, 2 to 3 times a week, go up as needed. Streaming platform is StreamYard. Has always treated us well.
Yes.
Good protocol for urolithin A, weekends only. Sure. I think if you're taking like a MOTS or SS31, I would just do it on the off days. If you're doing things to like stimulate your mitochondria, urolithin A would be like a mitochondrial antioxidant. So it's like push the mitochondria and then use urolithin A to like help repair and like rest and digest the mitochondria. And so if that's every other day, or if it's on the weekends, that's how I would do it. And I would do like 500 to 1,000 milligrams per day is the dose.
Yeah.
Urolithin A is kind of expensive. It's annoying, but it is good stuff. Have you heard of progressive supranuclear palsy? I haven't. If you do have any recommendations for peptide therapy, honestly, I wouldn't know, so I'm not going to tell you. Just because I don't know enough about it, I would love to read about it if you send me more information, and see if there's anything I would have an idea of.
Yeah.
Here we go. It was called the Pit for a reason when I went to Wake Forest. It is still to this day, as far as I know, called the Pit was the dining hall. And if you go to the Pit, you get the you know what's. The Pit, you know what's. That's the name of the dining hall at Wake Forest.
Is it because there's nothing else to do in that area?
No. How dare you talk bad about Winston-Salem? There's probably people in Winston-Salem watching right now.
I just wanted to get you going.
Rude.
I just wanted to get you going.
No, the dining hall at Wake Forest is called the Pit. So if you're like, hey, we're going to go eat, let's go to the Pit.
Yeah.
Versus like if you go to Chick-fil-A or Moe's or Shorty's. They actually have a Shorty's.
They have a Shorty's in Winston-Salem?
On campus. It's definitely nothing like the Shorty's in Wake Forest.
Okay.
But
is it the same owners or no?
No, it's just a restaurant because Wake Forest was originally here where we live.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a model of, like, they have like pictures of the old Shorty's on the wall. Because when Wake Forest was at Wake Forest,
I have not been to
that was like the
Shorty's
restaurant
so
to go
long.
to.
That's
They still,
crazy.
there's just like hot dogs there.
They have hot dogs, they have hamburgers, but like when I used to do hair, like
It was always
when I
the
used
red
to
hot
drink,
dogs.
like we'd always get like we were hungover the next day on a Saturday doing hair, like we'd always get that at the salon. All the
That you
grease.
would.
Yeah. Disgusting. It's a different life.
It's
time
like
ago.
Shorty's is like
person.
those like that like old school 1950s grill.
Yeah.
Like the grill is still probably from
they
the
use
50s.
like the can yellow, like orange, like cheese whiz on things, like
the pink
red hot dogs.
Yeah.
They have beef ones though too there.
Yeah.
Fried bologna sandwiches.
Well, it's funny because at Wake Forest it was called Benson when I was there. That's like the student center.
Yeah.
And the food court, Shorty's was like the nice restaurant. That was like the sit down restaurant that you got like waited on at. And then the other ones were like Chick-fil-A, Moe's, Boar's Head, like all the fast food stuff. And then Shorty's was like the sit down. And they had like pictures of the old Shorty's and stuff in there. And I was like, you guys don't know what the real Shorty's
So does it look
like.
kind of like almost like a mall cafeteria? Is that what it kind of looks like?
Yeah. Yeah. Like a smaller version of like a food court in a mall. But then like, you know how at the mall they have like a TGI Fridays, like next to the fast food ones. That's what like the Shorty's was like. And then they have like a Subway that was like in another building. And then they came out with a new dining hall when I was there that was like next to the business school. And that was like cleaner and nicer food and everything. How was I talking about Wake Forest?
Because
how did I get on Wake Forest?
Well,
I know Robert went there, but why was I talking about? Oh, we were talking about like the meals for the football.
You're talking about the meals.
I forgot about that.
Everything goes back to Wake Forest and football. So
I'm sorry.
It's not bad.
It's
just like everything goes back to like when I used to do hair. Like
it's just your life experience.
So your life experience is what imprinted you.
Yeah.
At that age.
Definitely not good for the digestion. Aramark cafeteria food. Although, like, we did our best.
Girls in college had PCOS.
Yeah, we did our best to eat healthy because they would always have like rice and sweet potatoes, like brown rice and sweet potatoes, like baked sweet potatoes. And then you could always like go to the grill station where they did like the burgers, and they would have like grilled chicken for a chicken sandwich. And so like that was like what a lot of us that like cared about our diet, we would go like get a couple pieces of grilled chicken and then get like brown rice and sweet potatoes. And then you get some fruit. So they call it the freshman 15. What is the SGLT2? Speak on this a lot. Shanna, that's basically like Jardiance Farxiga. It basically blocks reabsorption of glucose in the kidneys so that your blood sugar never goes too high.
Yeah.
Can TRT impact HDL? Mine dropped 10 points following 90 days on it. Injectable testosterone, yes, it definitely can. To bring that up, you could use citrus bergamot. You could use something like a Jardiance. Obviously, GLPs help. Creams will not tend to have that effect, but injections will. But if you manage it properly, there's usually no issue. But it is a thing. It is like the people that love to knock injections. They'll say, well, it lowers your HDL, which is true. But it's usually like within reason that you can manage it. So I will concede that it does. Shanna says, I use a diluted vial of TRT. Can I reuse the vial or always new vial? I would use a new one because it's been poked probably so many times. Like I would just use get a new sterile vial. With desiccated thyroid, what is the dosing protocol timing to start with 1 times a day or 2 times? First thing AM and early afternoon, first thing AM only.
I'd say AM only. I would not take it later than 12 PM in the afternoon. But if you're someone who starts your day at like 4 AM, you might need to break up your dose and do like a dose at 4 AM and then maybe like another dose around like 11 or 12 to get you through the day. But I mean, typically dosing protocol, like most women are going to start off anywhere between, if you're starting off new, anywhere between like 30 to 60 milligrams. Some women even less, like more like 15 milligrams.
Yeah.
And then for men, I would say anywhere between 60 to 90.
Yeah, and just kind of go from there. Always
Yeah.
start low and go slow.
Yeah.
Test for women. What do you recommend for good dose? 52-year-old female, currently on Retta, SS31, MOTS, BPC, and TB500.
I would say starting off new to injectable testosterone and testosterone in general, I would say start off with anywhere between 5 to 10 milligrams a week and then see how it is and then up the dose within like 4 weeks. After starting, most women feel at that age feel good anywhere between 10 to 20 milligrams for a weekly total.
Yeah.
Less is always more. You can always add.
Yeah. Thoughts on bone broth protein as a protein source? Bone broth as a protein source? I love it.
Love it.
And there's some good bone broth protein powders that are out there that taste really good. But yeah, I love it.
Yeah. That's also like a really great way to get more protein in when you're on a GLP and having like
some bone broth. It doesn't hurt your stomach. It actually helps because there's glycine and glutamine in it.
So it's also like beneficial to even have it like at night before bed, especially like if you're someone like you have to like get a lot of calories in order to, like, some people like don't sleep well if they don't have a lot of calories in at night. So doing like some bone broth with a little bit of grass-fed butter at night just to get some more of that fat in is really beneficial too.
Currently healing from several herniated discs in the neck. Peptide sec to use. I would say Clo plus Cardilax plus, you do PEG MGF and ARA 290. That would be like the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Ollie says thought very similar. They will always have that authority in theory. I have a celebrity client with 8 million followers trying to keep pushing to you guys for peptide stuff. That's awesome. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thanks for the support and love.
Yeah.
And ultimately too, like to me, sounds very virtue signaling, and also like people wouldn't think that people that create content don't want millions of followers. However, I really mean this. Like, I love so much what I do. There's this guy named Kevin Kelly that was the editor for Wired magazine. And there's this old article that like everyone in an online business like always goes back to that he wrote years ago called 1,000 True Fans. And he's like, if you get 1,000 true fans, you will always have a business, and you could use the internet to do that. And I love what I do so much because one, it's like, I actually like appreciate like not having more followers because like, as I say, like more money, more problems, like that always like brings more problems. Now, do I want the message far and wide? Of course. But like, I love what I do because to me, it's like the highest realized version of like what I get to do is like how I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Because like when I started doing this, like I would see how everyone else did stuff. And I was like, that's not me. Like I'm not like that.
Yeah.
Personality wise. And I just was like, you know what? I'm going to do what I feel called to do and do it in the way. And I ended up, if you're consistent enough, like you will attract the right people to you. And of course, it's always nicer, like to have more followers, make more money and all that stuff. But it's also too, it's like at what cost does that come?
Well, I think you lose like perspective on like what is really your goal. Is your goal to really just like make money, or is it really to like help the world?
Yeah. And if it's like, you always go back to the North Stars, like, what are we working on to do? Like my goal when I set out to do all this stuff, like when I was in my early 20s, I really got clear on like what it was that I wanted to do with my life is like, I want to make the world a healthier, more prosperous place. And if what I'm doing goes back to that, then I'm in the right place. And I know that will evolve and change.
Yeah.
As things in our life change, hopefully as we have kids, like evolve and like grow into like other roles and stuff. But it always goes back to that. Like, that's why I'm here. And that's what gets me excited out of the bed in the morning. And every day, like, even like through some stuff can be really stressful. Like, I'm so grateful of like, wow, I really get to do this.
Yeah.
Like I get to do this in a way and be like outrageously boring in a way that like helps people. because like I want to be outrageously boring. Like I was talking about this, and I would love to hear people's thoughts on this if they leave a comment or in the chat or whatever. Like I actually have some notes prepared to do like an entire anthology of like insulin to GLPs, of like a 3-hour podcast of like the history of like the formation of insulin to like where it led to with GLPs. And I know like that's not like the peptide protocol video of like, hey, do this, take this. But I think like contextually it helps people understand like how did we get here today with GLPs, and like why are GLPs relevant today is because we had this like build up of the story of like insulin being the first peptide synthesized and discovered to like where it led to. And there's like this story behind this. I would love to be able to like put that into content to do and have it like a long format to like where it was like really digestible and like very well researched and stuff. And like that excites me. You know what doesn't excite me? Taking a topic that I know will get a bunch of people to fight in the comments about and make a 60-second video about it to get a bunch of views to hopefully drive them back to a research chemical company. You know, like that doesn't excite me because it's like, while that can be beneficial to justify an existence and make money, like what did that really do? Because it's like here today and gone tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, versus that. So anyway, I know I'm going off the rails this morning, but those are my thoughts. Shanna says they're not like us. I'm never going to hear this song without thinking of you two now in Biohack World. Yeah. Some people probably have like no idea what I'm talking about if they don't know rap music, but Kendrick Lamar, they're not like us. Think about that.
I don't know.
I'll play that for you after.
Great.
Kendrick Lamar is basically saying like the rest of the rap world, like he's got like his posse. Cause like Kendrick Lamar in the rap world, and I'm like a aficionado of rap music, but I grew up on rap music. I like electronic music and I like rock music, but I always
like rap music. Like,
no, I know, man. It's like I like football, you know, like I'll never not like football, I'll never not like rap music. It's not like what I listen to every day.
Yeah.
But Kendrick Lamar is like this like lyrical genius, like really smart, but he's also like not part of the establishment. Like he has a beef with Drake because Drake is like Disney and Kendrick Lamar is like the underground, you know? And he's like, that's what he's saying. Like, they're not like us, of like, they're the ones that like want all this of like the status, the establishment endorsement. And Kendrick Lamar, I mean, I guess you would all say they're mainstream at this point, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, who's really underground? But that's like what that song is about.
His message.
Yeah. Of like, you know, it's funny that the NC State game this year, to go back to football, they kept playing the Kendrick Lamar song where, cause like Bill Belichick dates like a 24-year-old and he's like 70 something. And he was like in one of the Kendrick Lamar songs, he's like talking about like, he says like, talking about Drake, like we'll probably strike a chord and it's probably A minor. Get it like A minor, like a young girl.
Yeah.
Because I guess Drake got accused of like young girls. And they kept playing that at the NC State game versus UNC because like he's dating like a girl that's like 50 years younger than him. So anyway, to go back to like subliminal messaging and stuff.
Okay. Would you like compare him to like the Nako and Medicine for the People of like my music? Is that what you're comparing him?
Yeah, he would probably be like that.
Like that? Okay.
They would say that they're like, I mean, they're not like us. Like they're the outcasts from the mainstream world.
Yeah.
Kind of like Aaron Rodgers, Nako. Like Aaron Rodgers is like very anti-establishment, whether you love him or hate him.
Yeah.
He's like very like against the media, like doesn't like to talk to the media, likes to do his own thing, you know. So
yeah. They've actually done podcasts together.
Yeah. Yeah. All the famous people seem to not like peptides until their telemedicine company comes out and can sell them to you direct to your door. Then they're all going to love them.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. Thank you, Alexis. We love you too. We love all the people and obviously you guys and then obviously all the people in the community. Yes, thank you. And I hate like saying like I don't want to say that from like a virtue signaling standpoint because I know there's like people that we don't do a good service for and like that's fine. So
you need to give yourself more credit. I think you get like a little paranoid because there's so many narcissistic people out there in this industry. And I think you worry about that. And like, you're not doing that.
Yeah.
Give yourself
I just don't want to, I guess what bothers me is virtue signaling. So I never want to do that to people. So what do I think about Kilo Heart, Cardiogen, Motzi, and telmisartan to remodel the heart to a healthy state? Absolutely wonderful. Kilo Heart is going to be the oral bioregulator, Cardiogen, the injectable one, Motzi as well. I would add in SS31 to that as well to do that. So
Yeah.
those are all great, but I think SS31 and MOTS together potentially very beneficial to cardiac tissue. Another thing not to leave out too, thymosin beta 4, the full length sequence of thymosin beta 4, not TB500, although you'd probably get some benefits from TB500.
Yeah.
You get the full length thymosin beta 4, that works really well to help with heart tissue, being antifibrotic to heart tissue, everything. So good question here to shamelessly plug our Axion community. Yes, on the group calls, we record those every Thursday night. So they're Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Obviously, if you're in the UK, that's like 6 hours ahead of time. You know, it's tough because like sometimes I think about the international people in our group.
Yeah.
Like if we did a call at like 1 PM, they would be able to come on. But then it's like if also people in the United States, if they're at work at that time, we'd probably have less people because there's more people in the United States.
Yeah.
We'd have less people to be able to come on.
Yeah.
But I know some people would still come on. But it's just tough to have like one time for everyone that's
it'd be really hard for our co-hosts for her to do that
too. So but yes, we do have recordings, and the recordings are in the group themselves and the group itself. And I set up a website that I also host all the recordings on, so you can like look at them instead of having to like scroll through the feed of the group where they're posted. I actually have a website to like where you can just see them all at once. And I also have all the slides, and also too, shameless plug for anyone that wants my slide decks. I post all my slide decks from the group calls, but also my YouTube calls that you can download if you're in the group. So, do you have an opinion on IM8 powder from Beckham? Just been seeing ads. I don't know anything about it, but I did see a video of the guy from IM8 talking about how he ran ads to scale his company. It's just like some longevity supplement.
Oh.
Kind of probably like AG1. I don't even know what's in it. But he was like on a podcast talking about how he scaled his ads up to make $100 million in 12 months. So I don't know if it works, or maybe it may work. It could be great. Yes, somebody beat me to it. TB4 and then Frag 1 to 4 for heart remodeling. I heard of a product called Hemothin. Does it work for anabolic support, lower hematocrit? I haven't, although you could use something like nattokinase for that. To help with higher hematocrit, especially in the presence of anabolics. But I'll try to look it up, or if you can send it to me, I'll check it out. Yep. Simo's, Bell Brothers, Quality College Restaurants. Putters too. Robert will know about putters. Jeff says, when using multiple peptides a day, should you space out the time between taking each peptide? Is it okay to do a few peptides at the same time? It's definitely okay to do a few at the same time. Just make sure they're ones that are not like all in the same syringe if they don't belong in there together. Thank you, Sponge. We do our best to just be honest and treat people right and treat someone like you would if they were in your house, you know? What's your favorite bone broth protein powder brand? From Christy. Great friend of the show.
I've not used a bone broth protein powder.
I think Ancient Nutrition has a pretty good one that I've used. Okay. I haven't had in a while.
No, I usually just
drink the bone broth,
or just get like one of the ones like Kettle and Fire, or
there used to be these. Remember those bone broth powder sticks?
You had them. I never.
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
What I used to do is like take boiled eggs and like mix it in with the boiled eggs. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. Yes, integrity. Make everyone integrous again. Ollie says, interesting. Yes, Dan Carlin style. That's what I was actually thinking, is like, if Dan Carlin's podcast met peptides, like that's the direction I want to go in. He has a show called Hardcore History that he would do. Remember I was talking about it the other day in my infinite blabbering of like how cool it would be to have like Dan Carlin's podcast style for peptides.
Yeah.
Because he'll do like 4-hour-long episodes of stuff.
Yeah.
That are like very deep, and he like tells a story of like historical events. They're fascinating. But Sponge says, I'm 60 and I've 100% turned my life around the last year. 2 heart attacks. One was a widowmaker. Fired my doc and resolved my type 2 on my own in 18 months. Wow. That's amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And that's just like when people decide to take fate into their own hands.
Yeah.
You know, what can be done. Yeah, that's the thing too, is it's tough to have like the perfect time for everyone, but if you can ask questions before the call. So what we actually do, that's a good point. Taylor will post the topic of the call the day before.
This is in our live,
this is in our private group that you have to pay to be in, but she'll post the topic of the call. And then on the comments, will take questions. And so if once we get through all the live calls or the live questions on the call, we'll go through that and answer the questions, and then it'll be in the recording.
Yeah.
And then obviously too, a lot of people just pay to be in there, not to even like interact, but just because they can message me.
Yeah.
And so if you want to privately message me to like make sure that you get your question answered, we can do that. I would say most people that like want to do a call with me, they don't realize, I mean, I know some cases they might need a call. Like a lot of times they can just ask me in a private message and I'll respond with like a pretty good in-depth answer.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times like people that think they need a call, in a lot of cases they don't need a call. They just needed to ask me a couple questions to kind of figure it out. So I figure Pilotax and SS31 would help the kidneys, but do you have any other suggestions while on cycle? For an anabolic cycle, those would be pretty good. And then I think even for an anabolic cycle, an SGLT2 for someone that's like doing higher doses of gear could be beneficial.
Yeah.
In those cases, I don't think it's not going to like keep you from putting size on at all. It's just going to make you work better.
Yeah.
Bone broth, get from beef bones from a local farm that sells raw milk, eggs, etc. Make it at home. You kind of have to buy the raw milk like you do the peptides, not for human consumption.
Yeah, it's for the dogs.
It's crazy. Yeah. But anyway, well, that's it. We've been going at it for 2 hours now, and we got through most of the questions. So thank you guys. It was a wonderful show this morning. I know we went like down the rabbit hole and off the rails a little bit. Yeah. But yeah, it's what we do. So I guess we'll have a reader mailbag coming up this week, and then we'll be back in 2 weeks. Next weekend is actually our 1 year anniversary.
Yeah.
So we've been together for a few years, but 1 year wedding anniversary, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Also on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
At the same time. At least it won't always be on Mother's Day, because Mother's Day is always that Sunday, but like our anniversary will move the day.
Yeah.
Like next year will be on Monday. The next year will be on Tuesday. Yeah. So it's not always going to be on
May is a very expensive month for Hunter. He did not think about
Mother's Day, Taylor's birthday. Countdown to Taylor's birthday begins on May 1st. Today's Taylor's birthday. Shout out Taylor's mom or Taylor's mom's
my mom's birthday is today.
Shout out to her.
So it's our wedding anniversary, Mother's Day, and my birthday.
Yeah.
All in May.
All in May. And you will be in Mexico on your birthday, much to your dismay.
Yeah.
It could be worse places. We're actually going to be speaking.
We're going to be working.
Yeah, I'm going to be speaking.
The last 3 years we have been working
on our birthday.
On my birthday.
But then it all makes up, because then we'll go on vacation on my birthday.
Yeah, the last few years we've been in Europe on vacation for your birthday, and you don't even care about.
I know that's the funny thing is like I'm not,
and I care about my birthday.
I'm just like not the biggest like it's. Oh yeah, I forgot my brother Blake.
And it's Blake's birthday
is 1 week from today on May 9th. My mom was reminding me of that. So
yeah.
But yeah, so it's funny because like I'm not as big. Like I would work on my birthday, because I was just like, I want to celebrate it, but it's not like more, I don't care as much about the day that it's on. Like if it was on like a Wednesday, I'd be like, hey, let's just celebrate on Saturday. Whereas like Taylor wants to celebrate on the day. That's very important to her. I've come to realize.
Yeah.
So fair enough. I mean, that's fair. So last question, Jacqueline, friend of the show, says, could Retta be causing bloating? Since I switched from Turds to Retta, I wake up bloated. I think potentially if it's slowing gastric emptying and your food is not digesting as much, it definitely could.
Yeah.
But you know, I would say like you might need like more fiber and magnesium to help like get things moving. Yeah. A prebiotic could be helpful too.
Definitely prebiotic.
Some good probiotics, maybe some yogurt probiotics. Yeah. Could be good. So anyway, all right. Thank you guys. We're gonna go ahead and shut it down. We've been rambling long enough. So thank you guys. Love each and every one of you. Like we said, best place. Make sure you're on the email list too. I didn't talk about that, just with censorship and everything. Maybe we talked about some stuff today that'll get us kicked off. Hopefully not. But make sure you're on the email list, and then our private groups, the Axion Collective, that'll be there. And then if you want to check out my old videos, I did get that up. So library.hunterwilliamshealth.com. And we'll see you next time. We'll be back 2 weeks from today. I guess that'll be the 16th. Yeah, 16th of May. We'll be back. Yeah. And then make sure you're submitting the questions to the question box, and we'll use those for the reader mailbag. So I know we've got some good ones coming up for that next week. Yeah. So, all right. Have a fantastic weekend, and we will see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Peace.